that was the wackest intro. I'm so sorry. I did not know the beat was gonna go into that. But hope you guys have been having. Wait, you know what? Let's do it this way first. Let me turn this down. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Hope you guys have been doing good. Hope you guys have been doing good. It's been a week. It's been a week since I've been away, actually. I don't. Okay, you know what? Before we even start, I don't want this to be like a scrap stream. Let me just double check that y'all can fucking hear me, and then we'll get more over it. But I just gotta know. I gotta check. Because I remember one time I was trying to stream. That wasn't recent though. Alright, that works. I've had a bit of a week. I'm not gonna fucking lie to y'all, bro. It's been weird. I got a scoop of some good old fashioned racism, you know, because it comes in 32 flavors nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, you just never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes it's, you know, I got one of the lighter flavors, man. This was I think it was a little Napoleon, a little bit of chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. Because, you know, I didn't know what to make of this. I just didn't want to jump to race. I didn't make it about race initially, but like I knew that was the underlying, you know, like it was just the elephant in the room. Because like niggas don't have to do nothing, like literally nothing, to get into a situation where, like, you know, like you can get into some real trouble. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of what I was dealing with earlier in the week. That had nothing to do with why I wasn't even streaming. Like, it was like a couple of days before that happened, I stopped streaming for a little bit, just to kind of take a break. But once that happened, I was like, let me take a proper break. Let me get my... I was so angry. Because it wasn't like... I was angry because I did nothing. Like, it's the best way I can explain it. Like, when you do nothing and then something happens to you, like, I do my best to stay the fuck out people's way. In general, literally, figuratively, however the fuck you want to take that shit, I do my best to do that, because I'm just like, look, I know what it's like to get in people's way. I know how I felt when people got in my way. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just disrupting, you know, just doing stupid shit. So I just do my best to make sure, like, you know what? If I don't know you, it ain't gotta happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like that. We don't even have to cross paths in any fucking in a real way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, going about your day, I go about my day, like simple and plain. That's it. I don't want no problems. I don't want to deal with nobody. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if you're upset. If I don't want no problems, there will be no fucking problems, right? At least that's how I assume things would go. But no, like the world, like, you know what I mean? The world's just like, nigga, I don't give a fuck if you got no problems, nigga. I'll bring problems to your fucking door, literally, like, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. You just deal with it. You just do what you gotta fucking do, and then you just keep on going with your life. You know what I mean? I needed to take a little bit of a break. I realized I was going on autopilot, and I've gotten so many things straightened out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got like things that I'm building towards for my future. There's certain things that I'm still like, I wish would work itself out, but like, you know, that's with time. But outside of that, like, things have been going great. You know what I mean? Like, no real complaints. So it's just, you know, when stupid shit like this happens, and has nothing to do with nothing, but it somehow, you know, still makes its way to your face, it's like, alright, like, bored white women, bro. The most dangerous motherfuckers on the planet. Before I keep, like, because if I keep going, I'm gonna start saying some shit, so let me chill out. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't hurt nobody's feelings, and on top of that, like, I'm done with the situation. You know what I mean? Like, if people want to, you know, like, I let people do what people do, but I'm done. We're gonna do some reacts. We're gonna get into some reacts and shit like that. But I hope you guys have been doing good. Like, I apologize for not being, you know. Fuck, I shouldn't have closed that tab. I needed that tab. Alright, bear with me for a second. Just gonna let it do its thing. Alright, it's not. Usually the bit rate's on the fritz when I start opening up shit like this, but You know, I could wait till later. We don't need to do that. It's fine. All right, but I hope you guys have been doing good. You know what I mean? Those watching on the VODs, those watching live and shit like that. I hope you guys have been doing great. We're gonna get back to it. Like, I know before I took this break, I was saying some shit like we're gonna get back to it. It's the longest break I think I've ever took while streaming. It was a full week. Like, I literally checked it. It said like the last time I streamed was a week ago. So, and the last time we did a desktop stream was probably even longer than that. You know what I mean? So, getting back into this, you know, I missed it. And on top of that, I realized it keeps me out of trouble. It keeps me inside. You know what I mean? So, let me just like, you know, let me just keep on streaming and just keeping my ass out of trouble. Like, or at least, like, at very least, just staying inside. Because, like, when I stay inside, I don't get in no trouble. I don't deal with nothing, bro. Like, I swear, bro. I really try. To, like, I wish y'all knew, bro. But it's just, like, I don't want to bring attention to it. That's all. Because like, you bring attention to the situation, start fueling the fire, start giving people a reason, and then that'll start giving me a fucking reason. The last thing I need is a fucking reason, bro. I already have a bunch of good ones, man. You know what I mean? I don't need, like, you know, like. All right, let's get to it. All right, so your favorite movies are CIA propaganda. I saw this video a little while ago, and I'm just like, I'll save it for stream. Actually, I completely forgot I saved this video, but while I was like setting up which videos we're probably gonna get to today, I was just like, you know, I'm gonna keep this. There was like a long list, but I was just like, let me just shorten it out because I want to get into some gaming. We might play that police game again today. We might play that police game today. I haven't played it on the desktop, so we'll see how that fucking goes. But yeah. Actually, I miss what's his name? Noah J. Jones, I think it was. So yeah, we'll get back to his escapades in a bit. Escapades. I think that's how you say that. In a bit. But yeah. Let's get into some reacts.
There's a version of your favorite films and TV shows that you weren't allowed to see. Scripts were rewritten, scenes were cut, endings were changed, and characters were altered.
They had stamped top secret on the top and the bottom and the sides in the margins of every single page. And I said, guys, this is not top secret. This is a Hollywood movie. It's already on video. It's done.
I'm talking children's animations with rewritten endings, comedy films you've never heard of with deleted scenes, superhero franchises built in secretive contracts, and a screenwriter who tried to tell the wrong story and was found dead with both hands missing.
It's not an accident that every Hollywood movie about the CIA is pro-CIA.
This has been running since the 1940s. What started with Walt Disney producing propaganda shorts for the military has now evolved into a formal permanent operation, one that now reaches into the biggest franchises on the planet, and it hasn't stopped expanding from there. When John Kiriakou, a CEI whistleblower who went to prison for exposing the torture program, was asked on the Diary of a CEO how the agency would hypothetically design an influence campaign, this was his answer.
You would have to have a goal that would be specific enough that you could actually track the progress to it. It has to be a message. You've got to be able to get a specific, well-honed message out there. And the message can be anything. It could be, you know, love the CIA, we're the good guys. It could be support the overthrow of the Iranian government. It could be, you know, any criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu is anti-Semitism. It could be anything you want it to be. You just have to make sure that it's repeated enough.
He mentions a couple of things there that are highly relevant right now. Take Argo, an Oscar-winning film that almost everyone has heard of. The plot follows a CIA officer who poses as a Hollywood producer to smuggle 6 American diplomats out of Iran, all during the 1979 hostage crisis. As you can imagine, the CIA is unambiguously the hero. There's barely a single mention of the CIA's overthrow of Iran's democratically elected government, or the installing of a dictator who ruled with a secret police force trained by the CIA. And given the current conflict in Iran, you could reasonably argue that the public's understanding of who Iran is and how we got there was influenced in part by films exactly like this. During filming, Affleck visited CIA headquarters multiple times, sat in round tables in the director's conference room, and even emailed the agency promising to do the agency proud. The CIA had actually been promoting the Argo operation as a suggested movie plot on their own website years before the film was made, and even thanked Affleck publicly on Twitter for the film. Affleck said this when interviewed as part of the press tour.
Are there many actors in Hollywood who also moonlight as agents, do you think?
I think there are probably quite a few, yes. I think probably Hollywood is full of CIA agents, and we just don't know it.
But Argo's only the surface, and you'll be shocked about where exactly the strategy operates in Hollywood, the films it touches, and how smart it truly is. Take the original script for the Hulk. The canon storyline, as per the comic, involved Bruce Banner being transformed after a US military program gone wrong. It also included dialogue referencing Operation Ranch Hand, a real program that sprayed roughly 20 million gallons of chemical herbicides, including Agent Orange over Southeast Asia, poisoning a possible 4 million people. Both details were removed purposefully by CIA advisors. This is according to leaked files seen by The Conversation. They then changed the origin story to a lab experiment gone wrong instead because they couldn't risk anti-government sentiment in a franchise of this size. In the Transformers films, a Pentagon liaison inserted specific dialogue instead of removing it. In one scene just after American troops had been attacked by a deception robot, he added the line "bring him home" to reinforce US military values. Numerous superhero films, including practically the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the single biggest franchise in history, were all built on this from the ground up. Captain Marvel was granted full Air Force support. The Air Force was advertising the film on social media before Marvel had even started marketing it. Captain Marvel and Black Panther were both used directly in recruitment campaigns. The result was a documented spike in female applicants to the Air Force Academy. They literally called it the Captain Marvel effect. On Iron Man, which was massively supported by the Pentagon with $1 billion worth of equipment, there were literally fights on set between the directors and the agency. A Pentagon liaison, Phil Straub, objected to a line in which a military character says, "People would kill themselves for the opportunities I have." The director John pushed back, and soon they were standing on the flight lines at Edwards Air Force Base with 200 crew watching. They eventually settled on they'd walk over hot coals, but even then that didn't make the final cut. But a much weirder example is Meet the Parents, when Ben Stiller's character walks into Robert De Niro's workplace. In the original script he finds CIA torture manuals. That was rewritten. Now he finds photos of De Niro meeting Bill Clinton. IMDb credits Chase Brandon as a technical advisor and Milt Bearden as consultant CIA on the film, which you can see here. These examples just cover what we know for certain from a leak of 60,000 pages of documents, which confirmed the CIA has been involved in more than 2,500 productions in total. The Pentagon runs something called the Entertainment Media Office, a formal liaison operation that works directly with Hollywood studios. They support studios financially, offer advice on sensitive topics, and lend them specialist equipment and prime filming locations. In exchange for permissions, the CIA get to read and approve the script before a single frame is shot. They also have complete veto power, and directors are obliged to follow. One Pentagon minder said on record, "If they don't do what I say, I take my toys and go away." A declassified CIA document released in 2019 all but confirms that, logging dozens of meetings between the CIA's Office of Public Affairs and executives from NBC, Time Warner, Viacom, Fox, Paramount, and CAA. The document covers just 2 years from 2014 to 2016. It includes lunches, development deals on campus filming approvals, and meetings to develop CIA-themed TV shows. The CIA has always claimed it merely answers requests on an as-needed basis. The document shows active outreach. The agency is going to the studios, not the other way around. But you have to stretch back much further to find out when this all began, because when one of George Orwell's most important works was adapted into a movie, the CIA had the final say over its closing moments. That film is Animal Farm, a classic anti-establishment story about rebelling against power. After Orwell died, the film's rights to Animal Farm were purchased by 2 men, and both were undercover CIA agents. This was in 1954, the height of the Cold War and the Red Scare, when the fear of communism was at its peak. The CIA funded the entire animation. They hired British animators, deliberately avoiding American studios to create distance and because the agency distrusted Hollywood animators during the Red Scare, and they rewrote the ending. In Orwell's book, the animals look through the farmhouse window and can't tell the pigs from the humans. The line says, quote, "The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from pig to man, and from pig to man again, but already it was impossible to say which was which." This is the whole point. Revolution replaces one set of oppressors with another. Capitalism and communism are equally corrupt. The CIA couldn't have that message going out, so their version ends with the animals triumphantly overthrowing the pigs in a second revolution. Communism bad, rebellion good, America wins by implication. See, watch how they storm the building and how it doesn't imply the same message as the book at all. It's subtle, but the new version reinforces the division between good and bad. It creates a moral precedent that corrupt systems can be overthrown and replaced with something better, which is a really comforting thought, unless you realize it's exactly the story the CIA tells every time it topples a government. Orwell's ending says the opposite, that power corrupts regardless of who holds it, and that revolution just replaces one set of oppressors with another. The director Joy Batchelor strongly opposed the change, so the CIA threatened to pull financing. The intelligence officer E. Howard Hunt, who later became involved in the Watergate scandal, said the film was, quote, "carefully tweaked to heighten the anti-communist message." Although it was originally aimed at adults, Animal Farm found its primary audience in school over the US and Europe. By then, the state and media were already deeply intertwined. Governments had correctly identified that the media was the best way to access the minds of the public. Generations of children were shown a CIA-funded film with a CIA rewritten ending, as if this was a faithful adaptation of Orwell. So you may not be surprised to learn that Disney was the testing ground for how effective propaganda could be. While it might be hard to believe today, Disney was actually going broke, and the government offered it a deal. They accepted, and within 2 years, over 90% of Disney's output, mostly propaganda, was government content. Disney characters found their way into all sorts of government materials, including 1,200 military insignia. Walt Disney even personally designed this terrifying Mickey Mouse gas mask, all to make children less afraid during air raids. If you look at Disney films through the ages, like Snow White, The Incredibles, and Frozen, they're often said to carry some level of deliberate messaging. In a conversation between Theo Von and Robert Greene, the guy who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, Greene said they offer a singular worldview that runs through most Western mainstream media. While modern society came to describe this phenomena as woke, the more important aspect is the consent it manufactures.
And what angered me about Hollywood, people pretending to be these liberal, wonderful people in favor of all the best causes out there to create art. What bullshit. They wanted power. They loved having the power over people. They would drop the woke stuff tomorrow if they could make more money doing something else. It's just about what's going to bring the bucks in.
Someone upstream decides what the acceptable worldview is, and the media is passed accordingly. The Pentagon did it with military values. The CIA did it with anti-communism. Hollywood does it now with whatever sells. The product always looks like entertainment and not ideology. These are films watched by billions, not just in the West, but worldwide. So this is also a matter of the image the world superpowers want to project. Soft power has always mattered enormously to the West. Huge military, invincible superheroes, perfect moral values, intelligence agencies that can do anything they please and always win. Now, you might be wondering what happens if someone breaks ranks and goes against the grain. Whether it's possible to subvert the CIA and inform the public of the truth. Well, there has been at least one occasion when someone tried to do exactly that. He was Gary DeVore, a Hollywood screenwriter with major credits on Schwarzenegger's Raw Deal, Christopher Walken's The Dog of War, and Backroads with Tommy Lee Jones and Sally Field. He was deep into a script idea that even his own wife didn't fully understand until after he was gone.
When I first moved in with Gary, he said to me, "Don't be alarmed if you get a call from a person from a government agency. Just take their name down and their number and don't be worried about it." In the first 4 years, there were 2 calls. And then, not too long before he actually disappeared, there were several from the CIA at Langley.
It was called The Big Steal, set during the US invasion of Panama. A friend of his, Hollywood director John Irvin, had lunch with Gary a few weeks before he disappeared. He could tell that something was off.
He was troubled. Something was bothering him. He wasn't really in the conversation. He was having trouble with the script he was writing. which he talked about more about not the script, but about a government very, very sensitive, inconvenient truth. He was speaking more as a journalist than he was as a screenwriter. He was talking as an investigator.
A researcher who later investigated the case, called Dr. Matthew Alford, eventually uncovered what Gary had found, and it's really dark.
The dictator of Panama, Manuel Noriega, made secret recordings in wired rooms of senior US officials having sex with underage prostitutes, male and female.
One British newspaper commented on this, and the story was then buried. And the guy who wrote it got shot by an anonymous sniper.
Gary planned to put that in a Hollywood film. He was driving home through the desert, and then that was the last anyone heard from him.
And he said,
Starting to, like, there's a real trend going on with this bullshit, bro. That's how you know that Epstein the Epstein shit is so deep. When, like, these are CIA agents. And this isn't like I don't know when the Panama shit happened. I think he was saying like the 1950s or some shit like that. This is fucking crazy.
I'll see you later. I never heard from him again.
It's like Gary DeVore simply vanished into thin air.
There was a massive search, foot patrols, helicopters, $100,000 reward, but zero leads and no witnesses. He was missing for 374 days, but then his Ford Explorer was found beneath 15 feet of muddy water at the bottom of the California aqueduct. Despite the aqueduct having been searched extensively, his laptop containing the script was missing, his gun was missing, and his hands were missing.
Why were his hands cut off?
Listen, the man had his fingers removed. Why? Why?
In my own mind, feel that there is crime here. I do not feel that my husband drove off of this bridge.
Within a week of his disappearance, agents from the FBI, CIA, NSA, and DoD arrived at the family home. After an official went into his office, his computer was wiped. And here's an unlikely connection to meet the parents in other films years later. It was Chase Brandon, the CIA's entertainment industry liaison officer, who was among those at the scene. When Alford started digging into the case years later, he received a warning to stop what he was doing and leave well alone.
You know, of course, you've received an informal or semi-formal warning from a CIA and DoD contractor who said to you, back off the CIA, you're going too far with this now. These people can and will ruin your life and come knocking on mine and your doors.
A former White House official from the Reagan and George Bush administrations confirmed that DeVore harbored a deep-rooted relationship with the agency and considered the case as the hallmarks of a cover-up. The CIA declined to comment on the entire situation, and the case officially remains open. So that's the other side of the coin. What potentially happens when the CIA's veto isn't obeyed? We don't really know the truth of what happened, but it does show you that you shouldn't mess around with topics not sanctioned by the agency. As for the impacts this all has on society, Theo and Joe Rogan were very perceptive about how it can change public perception.
So in World War I, one of the problems that they had was people didn't want to be over there killing people.
Yeah.
And so people were shooting, but they weren't shooting at the actual enemy. And so then they realized, well, we've got to do something about that. And so after that, they started creating all these really patriotic war movies where the guys are heroes, they go over and they shoot all the bad guys, and then they're awesome. So then the next group of people that go to war are all going to be indoctrinated with these films.
John Kiriakou thinks that nowhere has that indoctrination been more effective or more dangerous than in warming the population up to the idea of torture.
One thing that bothers me the most is when Hollywood perpetuates the myth that torture prevented acts of terrorism or disrupted acts of terrorism. And to me, that myth is dangerous in that it affects public opinion. You can put whatever euphemism you want on it. You can call it enhanced interrogation technique. I don't care what you call it. What we did to some of those people was just illegal.
Kiriakou would know. He's the only CIA officer who ever went to prison over the torture program.
I objected to the CIA's use of so-called enhanced interrogation techniques, which I believe to be torture. And I went public with that information in December of 2000.
You know, I've seen this guy a lot. And he's been talking a lot against the CIA and shit like that. And here's the thing. I don't believe niggas. I truly don't believe niggas, bro. Like, it just wholeheartedly, only, especially like if ex-CIA agents, ex-agent period. Like, you know what I mean? FBI, this, that, and the third. If you're out here talking about shit, like he went to jail for this, right? But if you're talking about like how they move, what they do, all this other stuff, I can't imagine. Like, yo, niggas die for less with them niggas. Like, how many niggas die for like it just? He's never got that warning. He's never got that phone call. Like, nigga, chill. You know what I mean? I think he still works for them niggas, bro. I think he still works for them niggas. Like, I don't know to what capacity, but like, there's still direct communication. Like, I don't think CIA agents are ever done being CIA agents, regardless of the circumstance, unless they get excommunicated or da. But usually, I swear they would kill them niggas. No, like if you snake the agency that heavy, like I swear they would just kill you. Like, you know too much anyway. So like, I can't imagine. I can't imagine this nigga not being. So like, if he's telling us shit, it's like shit I think they just want out there now. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they got us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's spilling all the, you know, like, I think it's like one of those where like people can be like, people can have some sort of satisfaction with knowing what the, you know, the ins and outs, or like what used to happen, or what, you know, like at least surface level shit with the CIA, and like be kind of comfortable. Especially at a time where the FBI were in question with a lot of shit that, you know, like we don't have to get onto again the Epstein stuff or whatever, but he's come out at a convenient time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm one of those niggas who thinks everything is connected. Like, just because it's in left field doesn't mean it's not a part of the fucking field. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all one field. This is all one playground. Like, you know what I mean? This is all one sandbox. Like, we gotta like, yes, like it's all connected. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I swear this nigga still, like, to some capacity, still works for the niggas.
2007. All this time, by the way, I'm waiting for somebody to come out and say something, and nobody said anything. As a result, I was prosecuted and served 30 months in prison. But I'm glad I did. Somebody had to do it.
This is especially true in the film Zero Dark 30, which is about capturing Osama bin Laden. John Kiriakou thinks it's the strongest example of making the CIA look clean from every angle.
Zero Dark 30. So Zero Dark 30, I think, is the most egregious example of CIA interference in Hollywood.
The CIA gave the filmmakers classified briefings over a classified mock-up of the bin Laden compound. The film essentially pushed that the torture program is what led them to bin Laden. Kiriakou says that's a complete lie.
This was a film that the CIA made a policy decision on, that it was going to cooperate fully, to the point where senior CIA officers gave them inappropriately classified briefings over a classified mock-up of the bin Laden compound. Okay, that's chargeable under the Espionage Act. The CIA just turned it over. Why? Because it made the CIA look good.
In real life, intelligence work is edgy, gruesome, and morally ambiguous. Mainstream TV and cinema don't need to be accurate. They just need to feel right and not leave the audience with too many lingering questions or ambiguity. They pick up on this exact point in the podcast.
Even though they are torturing people. Now, entire population is so kind of almost like brainwashed into, but they are good guys, so torture is okay,
right,
as long as good guys are doing it.
Well, that was the narrative.
And they've got so desensitized towards doing bad shit, and if it's the CIA or if it's Tom Cruise or if it's like Mission Impossible and they're doing bad shit and they're torturing people, that's okay. Like, now the message is that's okay. You don't.
I just assumed they were always doing it. I don't think a lot of the things that like intelligence agencies are okay, but I just feel like it's above our, you know, it's above our capacity to do anything about. So like, you know, like I don't know. Like, if there's niggas within it like fighting against, like, this nigga apparently went to jail for 30 months and was happy that he did it. cool. Well, I don't think it's gonna stop anything. I always think there's gonna be like a higher level within the agency where like they're doing some fuck shit. You know, there was a level of the agency that was, you know, in Panama fucking underage prostitutes. Like, and then like niggas die over that information. Like, it's just like they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, it's the type of people that get in there. Like, you gotta think like they're hiring psychopaths, they're hiring computer experts, they're hiring sociopaths, then they're hiring like, you know, just like body language experts. Like, it's just like they hire everybody to get every facet of what it takes, you know what I mean, like for how society moves or runs. And it's like, so you know there's gonna be some bad seeds in there because they're hiring them niggas too intentionally. You know what I mean? It's like the intelligence agencies are like by nature have to like be as diverse as possible when it comes to just like how they gather information. Like, you know what I mean? And like who they send out there. So because like they have to, if we're going into this environment, we need this type of guy. We have an agent for that. We send them in there. Bro. You know what I mean? It's like like, you know what I mean? That's just me assuming. Just like based upon what I've just been listening to and everything that I've heard or read throughout my life. But I don't know, man. Like these niggas, I don't know. Torture? Is torture okay? Would you, if the good guys are doing it, is it okay? Are you a good guy if you are torturing? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like you got to remove that. Like, if you saw Superman, you know what? Batman beats the shit out of niggas for information. The dog shit. Obviously, he's not a real motherfucker, but he beats the dog shit out of niggas for information. For whatever reason, in the comics, it's effective. I don't know if in real life it is. Like, I feel like if somebody was beating the shit out of me and I really didn't do anything, but they think I did something and they kept beating the shit out of me, right? And like, you know what I mean? Like, eventually I'm just gonna give in and be like, yeah, I did it. Like, you know what I mean? Because like, I'm gonna just give them what they want to hear, cause I'm hurt. Or like, I'm gonna just give them some other information so I can escape the situation, and they're gonna have to find my ass next time. Like, you know what I mean? But I don't think the CIA finds your ass next time. I think like by the time you're done the torture, they just off your ass so like you don't, you know. That's rough. That's rough.
Worry about it.
Sensitization and controlling the narrative are central to this whole strategy, but there are deeper layers than promoting and suppressing films. The CIA's venture capital arm In-Q-Tel, literally named after Q from James Bond, has been funding tech companies since 1999. Google bought an In-Q-Tel funded mapping startup called Keyhole that became Google Earth. In-Q-Tel and Google then jointly invested in a company that builds predictive analytics by mining web data. Palantir was one of their earliest investments. The CIA had established an entire directorate of digital innovation specifically to engage Silicon Valley. So it's all linked together and practically operates in plain sight. Theo Von told Green a story about bumping into a construction worker at Century City Mall in LA.
Yo, what's up?
Wow.
So I start talking to him, and he's like, dude, guess what we're building? I'm like, I don't know. You know, I thought maybe it could have been like a Hardee's or something. He's like, we're building like a 20-story building, and 10 floors of it are the CIA, and the other 10 floors are a management company, Hollywood management.
Theo was mixing up the CIA and CAA, Creative Artists Agency, Hollywood's most powerful talent firm, but Green made it sound like the real thing was even worse.
And you go to that building, and they call it like the Death Star. There are like, you know, politicians who are being represented by CAA, athletes, tech bros, influencers. It's pretty frightening though when you go inside. It's almost like Scientology.
Like Scientology?
Hollywood's version of Scientology.
He's describing high-level ongoing talks at the intersection of the media, government, and big tech, all in a building lovingly called the Death Star. So you can now see how this whole influence campaign is far bigger than cutting lines in Marvel movies. It relies on cross-collaboration between multiple arms of state and private power, and the product hasn't stopped at the cinema. It's been actively following the audience, which means you, wherever you go, including online.
Do you think the CIA have a strategy for podcasters and for podcasting?
I think yes, now they do. It took them a little while to get current, but just like they over time developed a strategy with Hollywood, Sure, they're developing a strategy with podcasters.
This strategy is consolidating as we speak, which will only make it easier for agencies like the CIA to wield greater control over the narratives. Larry Ellison, whose company Oracle now hosts TikTok US algorithm and controls its content moderation, just bought Paramount through his son David. And if their bid for Warner Bros. And Discovery goes through, you can add CNN, HBO, Warner Brothers, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, Discovery, TLC, TBS, and TNT to that list. An internal memo obtained by NPR confirmed the Ellison-led entity will control what's allowed and what's not on the platform. Bernie Sanders called it oligarchy. And Oracle, which sits underneath all of this, has held government contracts with the CIA and the Department of Defense for decades. Whatever you call it, the media pipeline is now shorter than it's ever been, and in fewer hands. There's a through line from Donald Duck selling war bonds to Captain Marvel. Selling Air Force recruitment to Google Earth, tracking your location has never been broken. The methods have evolved: direct propaganda, covert funding, script consultations, structural incentives, venture capital, and digital surveillance. But the principle itself hasn't changed. Get the message right, make sure it's repeated enough, and eventually nobody questions this anymore. And if you've seen what happens when someone steps outside that system, a screenwriter at the bottom of a canal with no hands, a researcher warned to back off before they ruin his life, maybe then you understand why so few people ever try. It's not a theory about Hollywood, but a description of what 60,000 pages of declassified documents confirm has already happened, and is still happening, to the stories you grew up on. The truth is, we simply don't know how deep this rabbit hole really goes, how much of the information-rich world around us is real, and how much is fake or manipulated just enough to maintain a thin veneer of authenticity. Like we saw in this recent video we did on the CIA compromising podcasts, the rabbit hole truly goes deep. In any case, the strategy
I'm not gonna lie though, like the CIA is like OG propaganda. I'm talking about like 80s, 90s, early 2000s propaganda was gas. I'm not gonna lie. Like I grew up on a lot of it. And I miss a lot of it because this new propaganda age is fucking weird, bro. Like they're going in a weird direction and shit like that. Because I don't believe like all propaganda is bad. Like I think some of the messaging is sinister, but it's like I think they're trying to like I don't know what's the best way I could explain it. Like you got to think about some of the values and ideals that were been like that are like instilled within like children's movies and stuff like that. At least for my generation, a lot of it was like they were kind of like talking about the golden rules, right? There was obviously some fuckery sprinkled in there, right? But like a lot of it's like if we were talking about the fuckery that's been sprinkled in back in the day, as opposed to like what's fucking dumped with no filter now, is insane. Like it was like because like the shows that we watched when we were younger, our parents had to be able to watch too. And our parents are smarter than us. You know what I mean? So like if they picked up on it, I don't know if you remember back in the day, like, like, oh, we're not letting our kids watch this shit. Like you had to really be careful if you went too far above the line back in the day and shit like that. Now there's too much content for your parents to monitor. Cause a lot of kids don't even watch TV, they're on YouTube, right? So it's like you can't even. And like, I know they got YouTubers. I know these CIA niggas got to YouTubers. And it's probably not even directly. It's through brand deal. Like you gotta think, it's like you don't even need to give these niggas propaganda anymore. You just gotta make sure they're still on they're on some fuck shit. Like you start throwing these niggas money. You know what I mean? You've got them adjusted to a lifestyle that they now have to continuously fund. You're throwing them sponsors, all these different things now, and it's just like, hey, listen, nigga, you start changing up. You start trying to tell these niggas, the right thing, blah, blah, blah. And like the right thing could be like, something's fucked up is going on in the other part of the world right now. U.S. government is possibly, is a part of it, and you want to speak out against it. Well, this brand deal that we gave you, you know what I mean? Like it says here, like no political this or that, or you might be anti this or anti that. And they could just say that you were, even though you weren't, and then you lose that deal. All of a sudden, you start losing your money. It's just a form of control. Like it got worse. It got worse. It got worse, and it got easier for them. I think it's like I think obviously when he was talking about with podcasting, I think they had to like adapt. But I think this is easier for them because especially what they just showed, everything is interconnected. Like everything works in synergy with one another. So there's no real separation. It's all a part of the same machine. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's great video. Great fucking video. Got me fucking yapping right now. Let's go to the next one. Mr. Beast. Oh yeah, Mr. Beast is in some trouble apparently.
Mr. Beast, the famed YouTuber and bona fide billionaire, is slammed with a scathing lawsuit, alleging he wrongfully terminated one of his employees when she returned from maternity. Beast's work environment is so toxic, she was forced to work while in labor in the delivery room. And that's just the iceberg when it comes to shocking allegations. This is Scandal, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Sierra Gillespie.
There's no way Mr. Beast did that. It's weird because like I could see him doing that, but like I don't think so.
He is arguably the biggest creator on the planet.
Wait, do you guys think Mr. Beast has like CIA ties? Yeah. Considering
479 million followers, Super Bowl ads, a reality show on Amazon Prime, Jimmy Mr. Beast Donaldson, the guy who gives away private islands for clicks, who offered to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to any grocery store shopper who could stay inside a store for the longest amount of time. Oh, and he also, according to him, purchased the grocery store. But today, we're not talking about his latest stunt. No, we're here to talk about something much more serious. We're talking about a federal lawsuit filed just days ago against the content creator. The allegations inside, they paint a picture of Mr. Beast that, if true, his fans have never seen before. So buckle up. A former female executive.
I don't like when they do that. Because they're always trying to paint a picture like this nigga is like, you know, like something darker. We don't know the nigga to be good or bad or this or that. Like, I don't. As long as niggas ain't killing people, as long as they're not on no Epstein shit, like you know, no torture, CIA shit. Like, I feel like there's certain things where I just feel like this is none of our business. How they deal with their employees is how they deal with their employees. If they suck at it, like these are, you gotta think about some of these niggas, bro. They didn't grow up to be like they weren't like they didn't get into this to be CEOs. They came into this to create content. So I promise you, if anybody is going to fuck up in a CEO position, it is always going to be content creators because that's not their lane. You know what I mean? Like that, like you know, like deliberating and like doing all this with people. That's just not their lane. They're always going to fuck that up in one way or another, right? And it's going to take like a long time for people to get that. But he does it at such a scale that I can't imagine. Like when people are like given responsibility, it's just there's, you know, like it's just. It's content. You're making content, so like you probably don't have too many people that you trust with your visions and stuff like that. So like you know, that's why like I'm telling you, bro. Like I'm hiring all niggas, bro. I'm hiring like all black men, all black men, or just dudes in general, bro. Because like I'm not like the last thing I want as a content creator. And like niggas could get mad, like shorties could get mad at this all they fucking want and shit like that. I'm not having no bullshit with no shorties, bro. If I'm running a business, this, that, and the third, I'm just like, if in content creation, like if we're talking about like a clothing brand, this, that, and the third, like I'll probably be very loosely involved. So I would like, you know, obviously shorties and stuff like that, like any other sort of business, obviously. But when it comes to the content creation, just because of like what it is, just because of what I'm trying to do, like messages that I may be trying to convey and stuff like that, I want to be in the most comfortable environment as possible, where I'm not having to worry about if another individual feels uncomfortable if we talk about this or do that or whatever, right? And it would usually be with black dudes, like with black men and stuff like that. Like I would feel that's probably the most comfortable circle when it comes to just like trying to create content and stuff like that. Obviously, if there is like, you know, women, like female collaborators and stuff like that, your teams will collaborate on that level. You know what I mean? Whoever she's bringing with her stuff, whoever you're bringing with your stuff. But like when it comes to behind the scenes stuff, trying to get certain things done, I would need a dude because women do get pregnant. Like I see this, I'm like, women do get pregnant. You know what I mean? They do be having kids, like, you know what I mean? And like they should be they should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do at their job and stuff like that. That's why I just personally, let's continue this going. But I'm just saying, like, I'm already kind of like, man, I kind of already know where this is going. It's like it would be tough. I would imagine, especially at the skill that he does things. I feel like it would be tough to find replacements. And then not only if that replacement does a good job, and then Shorty just comes back, like, and it's within her rights and stuff like that. But for me personally, as a nigga who's like running, like you know, trying to just create content, and the minute it comes, like you just want to get that shit and idea out. You know what I mean? So you just want to get certain things done quickly in a certain way. So you've already trusted this person to do things in a certain way, and to just find somebody else and show them how to do that and get into that, you know, get into that rhythm with that person is going to take forever. By the time you finally do get into that rhythm with that individual, Shorty's back. And then you got to, like, you know, like insert her, get her comfortable back. So it's just like you're going to have a year where there's just going to be one part of your like structure that's always like just weak, and it's nobody's fault. You know what I mean? And that's the worst part. It's nobody's fucking fault. It's just how this shit goes. So it's like, you know, it's just frustrating. I can imagine that being frustrating trying to maneuver. It is what, you know.
Of his is suing him, claiming that she was demoted after she complained about workplace harassment.
I was expecting a cape for Mr. Beast. I was expecting to be like, damn, nigga, like shit. But nah, like I could already see where this is going.
She's also claiming she was forced to work while in active labor. Oh, and she mentions this handbook. She says employees were given it, and it says, and I'm quoting this directly, quote, "No does not mean no." Mr. Beast is denying everything, but this isn't just a he said, she said. This is a 20-plus page file.
Okay, we need context for what the fuck he meant by that. No, we need context. I don't like when they do shit like, what's the okay, let's go back.
Directly, quote, "No."
Upon information and belief during plaintiff's employment, Mr. Beast did not have an employee handbook with the standard employment policies and practices. Instead, Mr. Beast distributed a handbook to employees titled How to Succeed in Mr. Beast Production. That included sections such as it's okay for the boys to be childish, and states, if talent wants to draw on the whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them. The handbook states, do everything you can to empower the boys when filming. Mr. Beast directs employees to get to great lengths to go to great lengths to get results, and that there are no excuses to not getting the job done. The handbook tells employees, no does not mean no, and the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. And he's saying that, like, listen, I'm reading this and it's, within this context, doesn't sound crazy. But if that's the only line you fucking read, that sounds insane. And then it says, like, the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. And I could believe that because you saw the work that he put in. And it's just like, nigga, you trying to work with me? This is how we got shit. This is how we got here. This is how you saw the scale of shit that we got. Don't come here and start bitching about, you know what I mean? Like, I just...
Does not mean no. Mr. Beast is denying everything, but this isn't just a he said, she said. This is a 20-plus page filing. So how serious is all of this? And what could happen if you take the biggest influencer in the world to court? Well, let's find out. So Mr. Beast has more subscribers than the population of Germany, and he is, by the numbers, likely one of the most successful creators in the current digital age. He was just honored, in fact, as one of Time magazine's most influential people. For years, the story was simple. Mr. Beast does crazy stunts. Mr. Beast gives away money. Mr. Beast is a good guy, but now there's another story.
I've never heard Mr. Beast is a good guy. Not saying that he isn't, But all I hear about Mr. Beast is that he's incredibly hardworking and philanthropic. Philanthropic. I feel like there's a longer version of that word that I'm like fucking up right now. But like, yeah, he just helps niggas out. Now, whether that's good or bad, it's like it's content. You know what I mean? So I just know him as a content creator. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know too many people like, yo, that Mr. Beast is one of the nicest guys in the fucking world. I've never heard any of these other people really talk about how nice he is, this, that, and the third. I always hear them talk about how hard he works. You know what I mean? So they're trying to, it's just you always gotta listen for narrative building. You know what I mean?
One that's been building in the background. In 2024, the New York Times reported that former contestants on his Beast Game show sued, alleging dangerous conditions, lack of food, and medical neglect. That case, by the way, is still pending. And if you're not familiar with the show, basically, 1,000 people compete in crazy physical challenges, and the last one standing wins $5 million. Then, according to the Associated Press, allegations came that a longtime collaborator shared inappropriate messages with minors. Now, Mr. Beast had reportedly sent a memo to staff back in August of 2024, promising that he would create a culture that makes all our employees feel safe and allows them to do their best work. But now, a new lawsuit was filed on April 22nd in the Eastern District of North Carolina by a woman who says she was a former executive, Lorraine Mavromatis. Now, she's suing two of his companies, Mr. Beast YouTube LLC and Game Changer 24/7 LLC. According to the complaint, she's suing for FMLA violations, wrongful discharge, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, Lorraine says she was hired by Mr. Beast back in August of 2022 as the head of Instagram. And within her first year with the company, she was promoted twice. First to head of creative and then to COO of verticals. Now that meant she was running a team of about 20 people, managing a monthly budget of $500,000. She says she even had a private office. She reported directly to the CEO. On the rise, perhaps? But then, according to Lorraine, she ended up walking into a culture no one warned her about. According to the lawsuit, Mr. Beast did not have a standard employee handbook with basic policies. Instead, the company distributed a document titled How to Succeed in Mr. Beast Production. Now, the handbook allegedly included sections like, it's okay for the boys to be childish, and I quote, do everything you can to empower the boys when filming. The lawsuit also claims the handbook said no does not mean no, and the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. Lorraine says this was the culture at Beast Industries, and for women in the office, she says it created a toxic, demeaning environment where complaints were dismissed and bad.
You know how you can solve that problem? Just don't hire women. Like, I'm telling you, like, my solution is just hiring black men, bro. Simple and plain. Like, we got the toughest skin. I think we're the most creative motherfuckers. And I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about what Mr. B should do, but I'm talking about, like, what I would do, like, if I was in his position and shit like that. I would just be hiring black men, bro. Simple and plain. Black content creators, black artists, black people, black men in those positions. I'm not even like, I'm like excluding black women from this too. Like, I'm talking about women in general. Just quote unquote, just black men. Cause I'm like, look, I know what I'm willing to do. I've met a lot of black men in my life. Most of my best friends, like most of my closest friends, are black men and shit like that. So it's just like, look, I so far all the lawsuits that I've been hearing, women, assuming white women, right? Like, let's be very fair. But yeah, I just avoiding all this bullshit in general and shit like that. It's just like, yo, like, we need to, like, let's get shit done. We want to have a great environment. We want to be able to say what the fuck we want to say. You know what I mean? Like, I've never heard, and I'm gonna be very fair. Like I've worked a lot of labor jobs, a lot of, yo, what? Okay, sorry. I saw something weird there. Yeah, I've worked a lot of labor jobs, this, that, and the third, or whatever, and like, we'll complain, but we always work. You know what I mean? Like, we'll be talked to crazy, this, that, and the third, but like, we don't go and complain about this or that and like, just like from my experience, like, you know what I mean? Like, the only times I've ever had to deal, like, the only times I've ever heard anything like about complaining this in like labor environments or like environments where you're working with your hands is from women, and like, honestly, it benefits us sometimes in the long run because like things get a little bit easier. But the job, like, but for the company, things don't move quicker. Like, you know what I mean? Things actually slow the fuck down. Like, things actually start costing more. Then all of a sudden, people start losing jobs because things start costing more and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So in the long run, it doesn't help anybody. In the short term, it sounds great. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this sucks for all of us. Yeah, let's change this. And then all of a sudden, we, a quarter of us are missing. So like, for me, like, you build with the people that you started with. You know what I mean? If it's your guys, it's then the third, and then like even if there is shorties that you started with and shit like that, that's cool too. But then after that, you really gotta start like bottlenecking the type of people you want. And I'm talking about whoever you are. Like if you're starting something, you continue building it with like-minded people and people that fit within the culture that you're trying to build. A lot of the time, like we're forced into thinking like, oh, let's hire women, this, that, and the like I'm talking about content creators specifically, not anybody else. Like, and like women, like content creators who are women should be hiring like all women. You know what I mean? Like, like simple and plain. Because it's like, yeah, like simple and plain. Any like I always like because I don't want to hear complaints from the other side, like from women being like, well, that I don't think that's fair. Like I think it should be equal. If somebody can do the job, they should be able to do the job. Yes and no. Like if there's a woman that could do that job, I know there's a man that could do that job too, and vice versa. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to hire the person that I feel the most comfortable around, and I won't have any sort of fear around. I always have a certain level of fear when I'm around women because I just like working. Because I don't know you. I don't know what you're willing to say, what you're willing to do, what you've been in through your life, like all these different things or whatever, right? But because like it's hit or miss. And it's the same thing with dudes, but there's just certain lines dudes don't cross with each other. Because I can put my hands on a dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's different because there's no real, like, there's just nothing I can do. I just have to kind of take it with women, and that's cool. And I know that sounds crazy to say or whatever, but it's just like out of respect. You know what I mean? Like, you just take it, just out of respect. But with a dude, you don't have to do that, right? So there's also that part of it too, where like if a nigga starts talking to you crazy at work and shit like that, be like, listen, all right, this doesn't go on record. Like, y'all really do want to fight? And none of the other niggas are gonna be like, oh, it's a dangerous work environment. Nah, these two niggas just fought each other. Nobody got fired. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to fight, blah blah blah, and that's it. That's it. It's cool. Like, you guys good now? Y'all can work now? All right, let's get back to work now. Fuck. Like, and it's just like it'd be like that. It's just, but like if a woman was there, it's just, like that environment, it's just like it would just be rough. It'd be tough, man. Like, you can't. There's certain ways where like you can't. I feel like there'd be like a lot. I don't know. I just feel like there'd be a lot of settings that would be a lot better if it was strictly just men and strictly just women. But that's just me. You know what I mean? I don't think every field should be like that, but I think there's certain fields where it is like that, especially when you have unqualified CEOs. Like, content creators are usually unqualified CEOs, so I don't think they're responsible enough to have, you know what I mean? Look at you, to have such a diverse staff and shit like that. I feel like if you are like a Fortune 500 company and stuff like that, I think you should get to the point where, like, you know, you have all these different things in place and stuff like that. Because all of those things that you keep in place to have that sort of staff, those diverse staffs, costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to keep everybody happy and make sure everybody is being treated fairly, and to make sure it costs money. But like, when you're just hiring dudes, you know, we know we're gonna treat each other fairly, bro. Like, I'm gonna break you off when I gotta break you off. This is the money we agreed on. This is how we're doing things. You getting paid more than that nigga because that nigga's doing more than you, nigga. What he's doing is more important than you, even though you're working harder. That's why he's getting paid more, nigga. Like, if you knew how to do what he's doing, it'd be like those type of conversations. But then a shorty gets into the conversation, this man's making more than me, and we work the same amount of hours. It's like, bitch, like, it's just so many different things. There's just so many different things. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and then you end up sounding like how I sound. Like, you know what I mean? Misogynist, like a misogynist. Like, you know what I mean? Like a sexist, like all these different things. But it's just like, if we could have more honest conversations about these things, and like, honestly, and then Shorties could point out like where I'm like, why I am insensitive in this situation, like, and like what I'm saying right now, and point out exactly why, and blah, blah, blah. And then we can have these type of dialogues and build better work environments and change minds of people who feel the way that I feel, if there needs to be changing. Like, if their minds need to be changed in that way. But for me personally, seeing shit like this just solidifies where the fuck I stand with some of this shit, bro.
Behavior was excused. According to the lawsuit, the harassment started early and came right from the top. Lorraine says that the company's former CEO, James Warren, who, by the way, is Jimmy Donaldson's cousin, subjected her to sexual harassment. She says he forced one-on-one meetings at his private home in an upstairs, dimly lit room while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. But it gets stranger than that. He forced one-on-one meetings at his private home in an upstairs, dimly lit room while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. But it gets stranger than that. She asked Warren.
I gotta be careful because I didn't. It sounds, when she says dimly lit room, it just, now you're creating you're just creating something that I don't feel needed to be added. Why did, I don't know.
Is Jimmy Donaldson's cousin, subjected her to sexual harassment. She says he forced one-on-one meetings at his private home in an upstairs, dimly lit room while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. But it gets stranger than that. She asked Warren why Mr. Beast wouldn't work with her on certain projects. And here's where the lawsuit alleges Warren told her, quote, Jimmy gets really awkward around beautiful women. Let's just say that when you're around and he goes to the restroom, he's not actually using the restroom. Regarding bathroom trips, the company actually called...
Yo, Jimmy, beat the shit out of your cousin, fam. Beat the dog. Like, don't even fire that nigga. Beat the dog shit out of that nigga, bro. Why is he saying that? I don't think his cousin would say that. Do you think a nigga would say that to another show? I don't know. If this wasn't, like, if there's no recording, I don't believe the story.
Awkward.
If Jimmy believes the story, though, he needs to beat the shit out of his cousin.
Around beautiful women. Let's just say that when you're around and he goes to the restroom, he's not actually using the restroom. Regarding bathroom trips, the company actually called this claim fabricated. They said Mr. Beast's trips to the bathroom are actually due to Crohn's disease. And as a matter of fact, they had a lot more to say, which, by the way, we're going to get into all of that. But Lorraine says the alleged comment had a deeper impact on her. She says she started to wear baggy clothes and baseball caps to work just so that her looks wouldn't negatively impact her or affect her employment. The lawsuit also describes other allegations of demeaning treatment. She says Mr. Beast asked her to fetch him a beer before he would do a video, shooting a video, something she never saw him ask another male colleague. She says a male colleague told her to shut up and stop talking during a staff meeting when she asked a question. She also says that when she complained about a wealthy male client who was making unwanted romantic advances, that Warren told her she should be honored that a billionaire client was, quote, hitting on her. So in November of 2023, Lorraine says she reached a...
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, listen, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not saying she's wrong about how she feels about certain things. I'm just saying I don't need these problems, fam.
Tipping point, she made a formal complaint to Human Resources. And guess who she says was running HR? Jimmy Donaldson's mother, Susan Perisher.
Hey.
According to the lawsuit, Lorraine detailed her claims of sexually inappropriate encounters, the harassment, the demeaning treatment. She says Perisher told her the complaint would be thoroughly investigated and that she would take care of the matter. But 2 months later, in January of 2024, the investigation came back, and according to Lorraine, her claims were found to be unsubstantiated. And so on that same day, January 23rd, 2024, allegedly, she was demoted and transferred. So that meant she went from COO of Verticals, an executive role with a private office, 20 direct reports, and a $500,000 budget, to social media manager for the merchandise division. The lawsuit says she was sent to work remotely At home, she didn't have an office anymore, she supervised no one, and barely interacted with any executives. The complaint says Mr. Beast employees called this division, quote, where careers go to die. And if all of this wasn't shocking enough, wait until you hear what she says happened when she got pregnant. We're now in January 2025. Lorraine told her supervisor she was pregnant and would need to leave for the birth of her child. According to the lawsuit, Mr. Beast did
Wait, leave where? You work at home.
Not provide her with any written notice of her rights under the Family and Medical Leave Act. No eligibility notice, no designation notice, no nothing. On March 31st, 2025, she gave birth. She claims it was a pretty difficult delivery, and her baby needed some time in the neonatal intensive care unit. But according to the complaint, Mr. Beast did not let her rest. She says her supervisor asked her to work on a product launch just days after giving birth. She says she was asked to stand for 10 hours at an exhibition booth 3 weeks postpartum. She was sent to Brazil for a video shoot. Now, Lorraine told the Associated Press in an interview, I was still bleeding and I just had to show up. According to the complaint, she was on a work conference call while in the labor and delivery room. She says she was afraid that if she refused to work, she would lose her job. But unfortunately for her, on November 6th, 2025, less than 3 weeks after Lorraine returned full-time from her FMLA leave, she claims Mr. Beast terminated her. According to the lawsuit, she was told her position was being eliminated, but also that she was too high caliber for the role she had been demoted to. But instead of offering her another position, she says the company offered her a severance agreement. According to the lawsuit, they tried to leverage medical coverage for her newborn to coerce her into signing away her legal claims. She says she refused. And according to the complaint, Mr. Beast posted a job opening for a social media content manager around the time of her termination. She says she was not offered the role or even a chance to apply, and that the company ended up filling this position with a man in early 2026. Now, we reached out to Lorraine for a comment. She didn't get back to us, but Mr. Beast's team is speaking out. A spokesperson for Beast Industries said, quote, this clout-chasing complaint is built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements, and we have the receipts to prove it. There is extensive evidence, including Slack and WhatsApp messages, company documents, and witness testimony that unequivocally refutes her claims. We will not submit to opportunistic lawyers looking to manufacture a payday from us. The company also specifically addressed the alleged bathroom comment from James Warren, calling it ridiculous. This is an allegation fabricated for the sole purpose of sparking headlines. It's also disgusting that the lawsuit is exploiting Jimmy's eye condition and Crohn's disease to medical conditions he has been publicly open about. On the demotion claim, the company called it false and inaccurate. On the FMLA notice allegation, the company shared a screenshot of her signature confirming receipt of the employee handbook, including FMLA policies. And on the termination, the spokesperson said Lorraine was not fired, that her role was eliminated alongside others amid a company-wide restructuring. All right, so we walked you through the entire lawsuit, and now I want to dive a little deeper, break it all down with an expert. So let's bring him on. It's a friend of the show, entertainment and employee attorney Cameron Dolan-Shahi. Thank you so much, Cameron, for coming on with us today. And I mean, there's so many avenues I could go down with this lawsuit. What are just your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a culture at the company seemingly of hostility towards employees, hard driving, results oriented, which is not atypical of startups and successful founders. But obviously, there's a line, and that line is the law, and federal law in this case.
Some of these allegations, too, are truly egregious. The plaintiff who's filing this lawsuit, she alleges that she had to work, while she's very pregnant up until when she's in the delivery room, which I've never given birth, but word on the street, it's not super easy to do. Yeah. It probably, takes a lot out of you, as, it does. But for her to be working while she is literally in labor, I mean, what do you make of that allegation?
I mean, the law specifically protects pregnant women, as it should. Women that take FMLA leave, the Family Medical Leave Act, it's specifically designed for this. As a society, we would want to protect our mothers, our expecting mothers. And so to jeopardize the health of a woman and her baby is egregious, to say the least.
And honestly, just to be completely frank with you,
She could have refused the work though. Like, the reason why she didn't say no is because she was scared that she would get fired. So she never took the chance to actually say no. Why is your fear my responsibility? I asked you if you could do something. You said yes. That's it. I don't see the problem. I don't see what he did. Like, I think it's fucked up that he that he asked. If they knew what she was going through, then it's fucked up to even ask. But if they asked, it's because that's there was nobody else to fill that position. Hey, can you do this? Like, are you up for it? Yeah, I can do it. It's like, all right, bet. No, are you sure? Yeah, all right, bet. That's it. That was probably that conversation. Now it's this deeper, darker thing where it's just like, bitch, like, if you don't...
I'm at the age thinking about maybe having kids. And this is something that a lot of my peers, other women, have to think about too. How is this going to affect work? Yes, legally, I'm allowed to take off for maternity leave, whatever it may be, about 3 months. But then after that, will my job be waiting for me? And yes, it should be. But I mean, in this case, she says that after a couple of weeks, she came back and her job was kind of deleted, taken away. She was fired completely. So can you kind of explain how that works? I mean, your job should be safe if you're on maternity leave, right?
Correct. Under FMLA, you get 12 weeks unpaid, and you're protected for some time after that, which is what a lot of people don't know. If you have some sort of complications or medical issues, the employer is supposed to accommodate you. And if they don't, that's a violation of the Fair Employment and Housing Act, FEHA. So there's multiple protections for people, and I know it's scary potentially to have your job taken away, but as a plaintiff's attorney, I want to give reassurance to people out there that there are a lot of us, for better or worse, and willing to represent people who have been harmed by their employer.
Because it truly shouldn't be something on the mind of a new mother. She should be focusing on her recovery, number one, and then the.
Yeah, this is why I don't want a business with this type of shit. Oh man, bro, like. This is just too much to give a fuck about. Like, your baby is your baby. It's not my baby. I don't fucking care. My baby is my business. You know what I mean? And it sounds cutthroat, but it's fucking business, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like. That's why, like, I understand the laws or whatever, blah blah yada yada. But he just said if there's complications. Like, she was 3 weeks into the job. Like, she just came back for 3 weeks. The job no longer requires somebody. Because it doesn't exist. Like, I can't fill a position that no longer exists, bitch. Like, you're gone. I'm sorry, but like, you gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? And like, if you're gonna accuse somebody with something, you gotta have proof. Simple and plain. Like, you can't go to the police without no evidence. You can't. So if you're going to a job and you're just like making a claim about this, and this, you have to fucking have proof, or else you look crazy. Every fucking time. Hey, what's good, Night? Like, you look great, and thank you for the follow. But you look fucking crazy. Like, it's the stupidest shit to me. Like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes when I listen to this stuff or whatever, because I'm just like, dog, like, you said some shit that happened, and it could have easily happened, but you didn't prove it. They did an investigation. There was nothing to fucking prove. I watched Tornado Chasers. Oh shit, how was that? What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. All right, let's get back into it.
Life of her baby too. Exactly. So work, I mean, yes, work is very important and it's an identity for a lot of us. And, by the looks of it, she had a pretty cool job, but based on the
I got like 2 more videos to go. If you just type in the name and then I can put it and we can watch that next actually. What's next up on the docket? Yeah, we can watch that next. So it's gonna be a UD video next, but yeah, just type it in chat, and it'll be the next video we watch.
the allegations she has, the toxicity in the work environment, again, all allegations, it doesn't sound super great. So what do you think about her claims? I mean, do you think that she has a pretty strong case here?
I do. Getting fired 3 weeks after you come back and being forced to work without any sort of accommodations is pretty egregious. So she'll be able to point to the timing, what we call the temporal proximity between her termination and when she gave birth, as well as what we like to call Me Too evidence, which is evidence of other hostile work environment claims against the company to show some context and some color as to what was going on at Mr. Beast's company.
Okay, now you're opening the door to a whole other set of allegations that she's brought forth. And by the way, these aren't the first time that we've heard anything like that. Kind of the Mr. Beast culture there have been some rumors about kind of what happened. And in this lawsuit, she straight up says, this is a boys club. This is, I'm a woman, a female who worked here, but it kind of was leaning more toward the guys, guys being guys. Oh, no doesn't really mean no kind of thing. Right. And so does that do a good job of showing a pattern of, I guess, a toxic workplace?
Absolutely. These cultures are prevalent, often in the tech industries, video game industries, and now you see in social media industries where they're led by young male founders who unfortunately don't have the experience and wisdom to properly care for their employees and especially women in this case. There's a mentality for many startups and people of that generation. It's break stuff and apologize later, right? And so unfortunately for them, and fortunately for the employees, there is a line there. And so employees shouldn't be scared to exercise their rights and find lawyers when they think, their rights have been violated.
I think it's just so tough because when you tie in something like work, for a lot of people, for myself included, it is our identity. Yeah. It's what we like to do. We went to school for this. We got the job. It's great. But now, we need to pay bills. If this woman had a child, she has to provide for her. Okay, I need to make money from this company. So kind of feeling scared to speak up. Is that something you ever run into?
All the time. All the time. I have to reassure clients all the time who are very, very fearful. Luckily, at least in California, we have significant verdicts and judgments against these companies, for 10x or high multipliers of their salaries. So yes, it's a temporary serious nuisance not to have that income come in, but potentially you could have a lot more coming in damages if you have a good lawyer representing you.
It was fucking leech. Fucking bitch. All right, I'm done with that. We can watch what you're trying to watch, because this is actually just gonna start pissing me off. Reno tornado, the largest tornado. Recorded history. All right. Yeah, that video's gonna start fucking pissing me off.
This is the largest tornado in recorded history, heading straight for storm chasers desperately trying to escape. In just a couple of minutes, it would become one of the strongest, most infamous tornadoes in modern history. But how did this happen? An EF5 tornado just went through Moore, Oklahoma, leveling multiple neighborhoods. The large Oklahoma City metro is left in shock at the devastation. May is an active time for tornadoes in Oklahoma, but nothing like this could have been predicted. One thing about the weather, though, is that it stops for no one. As the weather system responsible for the EF5 tornado fades to the east, a new system follows from behind. Forecasters notice a strong trough on weather models and note it will intensify over central Oklahoma. As winds push from a region of high pressure to low pressure, a band of robust winds foster the wind shear needed for storms to form. The summer heat and strong moisture from the Gulf blend in these areas as well, giving the atmosphere every ingredient it would need for supercell thunderstorms. But still, not every supercell is a disaster.
It feels like South Florida. I gotta tell you, my hands have been sticky all day. There's just a ton of moisture in the atmosphere right now, and a couple of storms that have already begun to fire here. Gonna show them to you. Off to our north here, this is one that's gonna head toward, we believe, Cashion. You can see a well-delineated base to this. So we're gonna have to position ourselves in a way that lets those storms slide by us, where we can kind of avoid the larger hail cores, because they've already put down some big hail.
Hundreds, possibly thousands of chasers have chosen today to chase storms. I mean, it was perfect. Right in the middle of Tornado Alley, Summer had just rolled around, and a huge tornado had just occurred in the exact same area, enticing chasers with the prospect of another potentially historic event. With the risk directly situated on central Oklahoma, storm chasers needed a good place to sit and wait while still avoiding traffic from the huge Oklahoma City. To the west of the Oklahoma City metro, the town of El Reno presented itself as the perfect target for chasers, with the El Reno area packed with chasers. At 4:30 p.m., a blip on radar appears, and then a couple more. With the extreme instability present, or available energy in the atmosphere, these blips are quickly going to turn into monster supercells. Renowned storm chaser Tim Samaras tweets about the dangerous potential ahead. Storms now initiating south of Watauga along the triple point. Dangerous stay ahead for Oklahoma. Stay weather savvy. Tim is chasing with his group to Estex. His son, Paul Samaras, and a close colleague of his named Carl Young accompany him as part of the team. Their goal? Get life-saving data of tornadoes using instruments like pressure probes. In fact, back in 2003, Tim had set the world record for the lowest pressure drop ever recorded in a tornado, and he was out there to do it again, risking his life for the safety of those around him. By 5 p.m., many of the cells are spinning and producing massive hail. This would be the start of the storm's dangerous behavior. It's not long until they begin to merge into one giant complex, with the southernmost storm becoming dominant. This dominance allows it to tap into atmospheric ingredients more efficiently and spin tighter than the others. Rapid rotation encompasses the base of the storm, and a large wall cloud forms. This wall cloud highlights the mesocyclone of the storm, essentially the portion capable of producing a tornado.
Right here, we're just south, about 2 miles and maybe a mile west of El Reno. This is a pretty good storm right here. We got this cloud right here.
At 6:01 p.m., the first report of a tornado appears. When exactly this tornado actually touched down, however, is a little murky, as the actual base of the storm is enormous. Instead of a thin funnel emerging from the spinning clouds, dust began to swirl randomly underneath the entire storm. While currently weak, it's obvious that something big is about to happen. It's just a matter of when. At 6:03, a small funnel stretches to the ground before lifting back in the air.
Okay guys, I think that's a little close.
It's down. Down right behind the trees.
On the ground.
Another small funnel on the ground. We got multiple vortexes. Multi-vortexes.
Doesn't even look real.
It's moving away from us. We're good. We are in a perfect
What about
spot.
lightning?
This is our first look at what is called a sub-vortex. You see, tornadoes are not exactly one single spiral into the air, but rather multiple strong vortices of wind spinning around a common center. Typically, these vortices are so close and similar in strength that they appear as one. But in this storm, the area of rotation is so large and has so much energy. These sub-vortices appear erratically and discretely under the base. Multiple smaller circulations converge and morph towards one main tornadic circulation, and the entire beast sways around unpredictably. If this isn't already confusing enough, the situation becomes more erratic as multiple instances of twins to even quadruplet tornadoes occur. The storm is currently moving at a moderate 20 miles per hour to the southeast. Remember this number for later. To the southeast of the storm, a tornado touring group called Tempest Tours, with multiple visitors, are watching the tornado. Mesmerized by it, the group's leaders are unaware of how close the actual tornado is, as the small subvortices dance around in random directions. In fact, the edge of the circulation is less than 3 minutes from them. The tour leader is watching the increasingly erratic vortices carefully. He expects to see the tornado moving from left to right, which would indicate the tornado is moving from west to east, the expected direction of motion. Instead, they see no motion. That's when they realize something terrifying. The tornado is moving directly towards the tour group. The tour leader immediately honks his horn to get the group back in the van. At this moment, they have less than 60 seconds to get out of the tornado's path.
Yeah, we gotta move. Could you imagine?
Get in now. Get in now.
Yeah.
group members jump into the vans, and the convoy bombs southwards to escape the tornado's path. Fortunately, they are able to outrun a rare occurrence in comparison to others. The majority of chasers have positioned themselves to the south of the tornado. This is because, again, the tornado should be moving to the northeast, but because of the sudden southeast motion, they find themselves scrambling to get out of the way of the powerful circulation. Due to the hundreds of chasers, mobility is severely hindered as traffic jams begin to form. The hype caused by the active season has caused a backlog of chasers itching to get as close to the tornado as possible. This is a grave mistake, as that decision, combined with the erratic motion and structure of the tornado, is creating one of the most dangerous environments around a tornado possible. Due east of the tornado at 6:09 p.m., storm chasers Brett Wright and
That's gotta be top 5 worst ways to die. In a tornado in your car? Could you imagine? Because, like, you don't die immediately. Like, you're gonna find yourself, like, you know what I mean? You're gonna be in the air for a little bit. Like, and then it might be, like, debris that fucking collides into you that kills you while you're in the tornado. Oh my gosh, that'd be the fucking scariest. Top 5 worst ways to die, probably. That, hurricanes. Tornadoes, hurricanes, like, joint.
Brandon Sullivan are watching the tornado only 3,000 yards away. The chaotic movement of the subvortices make it difficult to determine the movement of the tornado, but they assume the tornado is headed east to northeast, which would be essentially directly for them. Analyzing the situation, they decide the smartest possible thing to do would be to drive south, but this is a freak tornado, and the decision would place them in a deadly situation as winds begin to batter the vehicle.
Oh my gosh! Debris! Debris! It's coming up! That whole thing's coming up! Oh my god! Oh my god! Fucking for you. Keep going, Andre. Keep going. Keep going! Why is this guy stopping? Watch that car!
You may be confused as to why they waited until the tornado was so close to them, but the same illusion that almost killed the tour group has struck again, making the motion seem much less direct than usual. The wet roads and gusting winds mean their car is limited to max 40 miles per hour, a speed which is not at all fast enough to escape the massive growing wind field. As the strongest inflow winds feeding into the tornado strike them, a nearby farmhouse is torn apart, pelting their car with debris and shattering the windshield. They are just barely able to keep moving though, escaping the tornado by less than 40 seconds. At the same moment, exactly 1 mile north of Wright and Sullivan, the Twistex group is turning east onto Reno Road. Right now, the team is trying to get in the path of the intensifying tornado by paralleling the tornado from the north. Their hope is to outrace it, allowing them to drive south ahead of it. As they follow the tornado, they no longer see a collection of subvortices like earlier, but instead a giant wedge, a tornado that's wider than it is tall. This doesn't mean that there aren't extreme subvortices though. In fact, they are just hidden inside the dust and debris. Vortices are now would be by actually looking inside the storm, which is precisely what the crew in control of a mobile radar truck are doing. What they observe is very rare. For most normal tornadoes, the rotating core of the storm will exact its power into a single point. But here, the mesocyclone is so powerful, multiple distinct rotations are forming within the circulation. The wind speeds and erratic motion are alarming to the people inside the radar truck. Less than half a mile behind the Twistex crew, Reed Timmer and Team Dominator are also following the tornado. Storm chaser Ray Bohack is filming from within one of the team's 3 storm chasing vehicles. Dominator 1, he captures the monster in front of them.
Chasing fucking tornadoes is crazy.
The massive wedge tornado can be seen in the center of the screen, with Team Twistex just up ahead, right next to the tornado. Unknown to the team though, they're in a very dangerous location. The radar truck records another vortex form over the El Reno airport. This vortex sweeps just behind the team, when suddenly another vortex forms further to the southwest side of the wedge. Within the storm, There are now 3 or more visible vortices rotating around each other. The radar truck crew observes how the formation of these new tornadoes causes some crazy, unpredictable behavior. Here, the main wedge is pulled north by the forming vortex, lunging towards Reno Road, towards the TwistX crew. Inside TwistX's vehicle, Paul Samaras has a video camera and is capturing the encounter. While the footage they recorded is lost, the dialogue of the 3 crew members has been transcribed. Carl Young urges Tim to continue east to get ahead of the tornado. We could pass it right now, Tim. It's no problem. Really, I mean, I have a clear shot. But Tim realizes something's wrong. We've got debris in the air. That's the problem. As the wedge curves towards them, the outer bands begin to impact them, pelting the car with debris. We've got to turn to the north. That's good. We're gonna follow it around to the north and get out of here. They turn north onto Reformatory Road, battling 70-mile-per-hour winds feeding into the tornado. While this is happening, a civilian named Richard Henderson is also on Reno Road, just ahead of TwistX. He had watched the tornado touch down 10 minutes prior, where he had snapped an image of the forming tornado on his cell phone to send to a friend. Before he made a phone call, Henderson says, "I'm having fun. I'm riding around chasing storms." Henderson's friend expressed concern. "You better stop doing that." But Henderson kept chasing, continuing east on Reno Road. When the tornado made its launch north, Henderson kept pushing eastwards. The friend recalls hearing popping noises as debris hit Henderson's car. Soon, the call went dead. If the wedge keeps going north, both TwistX and Henderson won't just be hit by debris, but be directly struck by the violent tornado. In some miracle, the wedge decides to make a complete loop and begins to head south again. This sudden loop allowed TwistX to escape north, where they can turn west onto 10th Street to make another attempt at safely intercepting the tornado. The dark mass now deviates slightly to the east, and with this change in path, a change in speed. The tornado is no longer moving at the reasonable 20 miles per hour from the beginning of its life. Now, it's racing eastwards at more than 50 miles per hour. Any chaser east of the tornado now suddenly finds themselves escaping a deadly situation. There's a huge issue though. There are now potentially hundreds of chasers clogging the wet dirt roads, making it practically impossible to get out of the way. One chaser who finds himself stuck in the chaser traffic jam is Skip Talbot. He's in a group of chasers watching the storm approach from the intersection of 15th and Country Club Road. Up until now, dust has obscured the tornado from sight, except when lightning strikes briefly, illuminating the approaching circulation from behind. But even as the tornado closes, the heavy rain hides the chaotic Ferris wheel of vortices from sight. The group stays, waiting to gain a visual.
Yo, fam, at this point, I'm driving over grass, roads, driving past people's lawns, backyards, like whatever the fuck is obstructing the road is not obstructing everything else. I feel like during times of danger and shit like that, our brains get stupid. Like, why am I still in traffic? There is grass, roads, this, that, and like there's dirt. There's dirt all around this road. It's gotta lead somewhere else outside of the fucking path of the storm. Like, what cop is gonna pull me over while a tornado's coming behind us? We could talk about this later, officer. Let's get the fuck out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no such thing as being stuck if a storm's coming, bro. I'm driving all over the place. Everybody else should be too. We'll figure it out later. Like, you know what I mean? That's crazy.
On the tornado. After all, the tornado is still about 2 miles away, but gradually, Talbot notices something unusual. He watches as the rain curtains sweep from left to right at increasingly fast speeds. The rain must be rushing around at more than 100 miles per hour. This triggers a sudden epiphany. The rain is the tornado. The entire area is starting to gain tornadic winds. The group makes the smart decision to scramble east. As they turn onto 15th Street, they join a bumper-to-bumper line of chasers, all running for their lives. Not everyone in this line is a chaser though. A couple minutes before, local resident Billy O'Neill and his son-in-law Jose Bonilla are watching the approaching tornado. Bonilla urges O'Neill to get into the neighbor's storm cellar, but he's too claustrophobic. Because of this, the pair run the tornado in their car. They drive south towards 15th Street, where they see the line of chasers fleeing the approaching funnel. O'Neill stops and waves on the chasers, even as the tornado approaches closer and closer. Eventually, the last car passes, and they're able to turn onto 15th Street. But the tornado is moving way too fast. Unfortunately, there's no chance of escape. Ahead of them, they see a pickup truck turn south onto a dirt road. Inside is the driver, Dustin Heath Bridges, and passenger Wyatt Mindeman. They have both been caught in the storm whilst heading towards the nearby town of Yukon. O'Neill follows them in a last-ditch attempt to get out of the tornado's path. It's too late though. Power lines are brought down onto Bridges' truck, trapping both cars as the tornado overtakes them. Bonilla recalls, all the windows blew out. We started rolling. It was like slow motion. Both cars roll at least 150 yards before they come to a stop, right side up on a completely different road. Bonilla climbs out of their door and hears screaming from Bridges' pickup. He runs over to find Bridges hanging out at the door by his seatbelt. Mindeman is sat with a crushed leg, unable to help him. Bonilla rushes back to O'Neill to get help, but when he arrives, he realizes O'Neill has passed away. Bonilla grabs a piece of broken glass to cut Bridges free from his seatbelt. Paramedics soon descend on the scene, but when they arrive, Bridges has gone unresponsive. He and O'Neill are pronounced dead at the scene, the first deaths attributed to the tornado. 1 mile north on Reno Road, there is another line of chasers fleeing eastwards. The last person in this traffic is the previously mentioned Richard Henderson. Henderson was able to make ground on the tornado when it looped behind him, but now it's closing on him again. The crowd of vehicles now converge on Highway 81, a major road running north to south. Here, many chasers make a life or death decision, continue east and hope they can outrun the tornado on the dirt roads, or turn south onto Highway 81 and hope they can outrun the tornado before it hits them. Skip Talbot and Richard Henderson make the decision to continue fleeing east. At the same time, half a mile north of Henderson, a group of chasers from the Weather Channel are about to make a different decision. A decision that may be the biggest mistake of their lives. The Weather Channel team is made up of 3 vehicles. The lead vehicle is driven by Kevin Parrish, which is then followed by a vehicle named the Bettsmobile because it is operated by Mike Betts, a Weather Channel reporter. Betts' producer, Austin Anderson, and a cameraman named Brad Reynolds also accompany him. The convoy stops just north of Reno Road so Betts can make a live broadcast as the tornado approaches from the southwest.
All right, that's Simon Brewer, one of the storm riders, and I think we're trying to get a hold of Mike Bettis. He's out there in the field. I believe this is the Mike's shot here.
That's the tornado hunt team.
Hey, Mike, I think he's just now
Well, he's got a
in.
tornado behind him.
Yeah, Mike, can you hear us?
No way it's gonna take Mike. Is it gonna take Mike?
Guys, that's it. Right there. There's the tornado. We are just north of Union City, south of El Reno, south of I-40. Cops have blocked off 81 at this point and not letting traffic go southbound because the path of the tornado could come right over top of Union City or pass very close to it. Look at that monster. This is a huge tornado. If you live in Union City, south of El Reno, you have to take shelter. We may actually quickly try to get in our cars and get south of this. That'd be the safest place to do that. I think we have to go now in order to stay ahead of this and not get run over by it. So guys, I think we're gonna get back in our cars. We're gonna try to keep our cameras on top of this and we're gonna roll just to stay safe, okay? We'll be back with you in just a minute, but huge, violent tornado right now approaching Union City, south of El Reno, Oklahoma.
Their decision to drive south seems like a reasonable idea. To their north and west, giant, record-sized hail is falling. Traveling east would keep them in the potential path of the tornado, so booking it south towards clear air is by far the most appealing option. Sadly, once again, illusions hide the danger they're about to put themselves in. You see, the tornado is so large, it seems like it's barely moving yet again. But again, when a tornado doesn't appear to be moving, usually it's moving towards you. This illusion likely makes the team believe they are directly in the path, prompting the Weather Channel convoy to head south rather than stay put. The truth is, the tornado is now racing due east at 55 miles per hour, but it's not just moving at 55 miles per hour, because as well as this, the tornado's size is expanding faster now than any tornado in history. In less than 60 seconds, the wind field expands from 1 mile to 2 miles in width. This means the tornado is literally expanding towards Highway 81 at 30 miles per hour. Combining these values, the tornado's forward speed is coming directly at them at over 80 miles per hour. As the convoy begins to drive south, they quickly realize their mistake. The rain begins to clear, once again exposing the erratic multi-vortex core. The funnel is smaller in size now, but the contraction of the core has actually made the winds stronger. Aerial imagery from after the tornado shows the path of scouring the tornado was creating at this time. But even though the funnel is nearly a mile away, the wind field is beginning to cross the highway ahead of them. They pick up speed, traveling south at over 70 miles per hour, but still, the tornado is outpacing them. Parrish watches as dozens of vortices sweep towards them. It's now less than 300 yards away. Winds into the storm suddenly spike to more than 120 miles per hour, lifting and slamming his car into the central divider before sucking it into the roadside ditch. Behind him, Betts is filming.
Hold on, brothers. Hold on. Everybody jump, go. Just keep going if you can. Keep going.
Parrish can be seen in the ditch just before the winds of the Bettsmobile are smashed in as the core passes directly overhead.
Everybody jump down. Everybody jump down.
Betts' camera is ejected from a window upon impact, but continues filming. The Bettsmobile can be seen rolling away, with the 3 occupants still inside. To the north, a separate tour group operated by Randy Walton is attempting to navigate through the traffic jam of chasers on Reno Road. Their tour group is about 30 seconds ahead of Henderson, but instead of continuing east like Henderson, they turn north. 50 seconds later, they approach the intersection of Highway 81 and a road named Reuter Road. At this exact same time, the TwistX crew is now approaching Highway 81. Neither TwistX nor Henderson are aware of the incredible speeds at which the tornado has expanded eastwards. Tim says,
"We're probably going to have to cross 81 if this road is good, and then try and drop down if we got some viable roads."
They pull up behind a Toyota Yaris. The driver is storm chaser Dan Robinson. Robinson has a rear dash cam rolling, filming TwistX right behind him. Robinson looks south and also sees the tornado crossing the highway. This convinces him to continue east onto Reuter Road. TwistX decides the same. Randy Walton records Robinson's Yaris crossing 81, followed by the TwistX crew's white Chevrolet Cobalt. Walton and his group would have no clue they were recording the last moments of the TwistX crew. Thinking quickly, Walton also decides to turn onto Reuter behind them.
Right on 81. Yeah. Copy. Go slow. Copy. I've never had anybody tell me to go slow before. Go to the highway, back where we came from and go keep going where we're going. Turn around. 10-4, turn around, and then we're gonna go back again.
This decision to turn around, without a doubt, saved their lives. But Dan and TwistX are continuing down Reuter. To the south, Henderson is still stuck behind the line of chasers on Reno Road. After the powerful core strikes the Weather Channel convoy, it begins to do something that no chaser was expecting. It begins to move north. The heavy rain is not only slowing down the line of chasers in front of him, but it's also completely obscuring the tornado that's rapidly approaching him. As far as he's aware, the tornado is still a mile to his south, where he last spotted it. But in an instant, the winds begin to roar and debris begins to pelt his vehicle. There is quite literally no time to react to what's happening as the tornado roars just behind him, east of the intersection of Alpheldale and Reno roads. His car is lifted and flung off the side of the road. He disappears into the darkness. Emily Sutton, a chaser just ahead of Robinson, films the core once again revealing itself. The funnel is a stovepipe shape, no more than 250 yards wide at its base, but the wind field is still growing. To the north, TwistX still can't see the tornado. Heavy rain to their south means it's essentially invisible, and determining its motion is impossible. They can only assume it's continuing eastwards.
This thing is moving 40 miles an hour, 30 to 40 miles an hour to the east.
Tim is likely guessing here, as the tornado is much closer and moving much faster. As the rain begins to clear, it's hard to discern what exactly is to their south.
No, I see it. Well, maybe I don't.
Tim looks up the road. Dan Robinson's car is just ahead, and rain bands begin to sweep towards the road. He glances back towards the massive rain, where the funnel is beginning to reveal itself. The air around him grows, quote, eerily calm.
There's no rain here. Actually, I think we're in a bad spot.
These are the last words that we verifiably have of the TwistX crew before the camera recording cuts off. It had used all of its storage, but at this point, the tornado is 90 seconds away. Robinson's rear dashcam continues to capture the white Chevy Cobalt. He also begins to realize what's happening.
What is that? What is that? It looks like the tornado. The car won't go. I've got to get out of whatever this is. The car just isn't going.
TwistX's Chevy, with less power than Robinson's Toyota, falls behind him. The rear dashcam captures the car disappearing from a pair of headlights to a single speck of light. And soon, the tiny speck of light is extinguished. The wall of darkness has consumed the road. Oklahoma Highway Patrol Officer Betsy Randolph is nearby and is listening to her radio when she hears a disturbing shout. We're going to die. We're going to die. The transmission went dead immediately afterwards. It is believed that this transmission was from the TwistX vehicle as the main circulation overtook their car. By the time Robinson pulls clear of the tornado, it has grown to its full width, an incredible 2.6 miles wide. The rain has fully cleared, and now the inner mechanisms of the disgusting monster can be seen. Huge sub-vortices sweep around at incredible speeds. The mobile radar truck from earlier has paralleled the tornado to the north on Interstate 40 and is watching the tornado approach. As the radar scans the tornado, they record something incredible. Inside the circulation, wind speeds of 296 miles per hour, the second highest wind speeds ever, are measured. Moments later, a satellite tornado arcs around the south side of the main one with a ground speed of 175 miles per hour.
This has got to be the dumbest hobby. Unless you're doing this shit professionally, like chasing these things. Oklahoma, I remember there was a story in Oklahoma. There was like over 100 or something tornadoes within I don't know if it was like at once or like within like a short span of time. Like doing it there, especially where it's just like that, like you don't never know when them shits is gonna pop up, especially during tornado season. Like this is like you could have never fucking prepared for this. Even as a storm chaser, clearly, right? Because like even you got the Weather Channel niggas getting fucked up from this. This is crazy work. Top 5 worst ways to die, bro.
This is the highest forward speed ever recorded for a tornado. Within minutes, this tornado has come close to or has broken numerous records. It continues moving northeast, forcing the radar team to begin to flee east on I-40. But here, they realize the magnitude of the disaster that is about to unfold. I-40 is a major highway that is packed with civilians and storm chasers alike. An EF5 strength tornado, with winds approaching 300 miles per hour here, could kill hundreds. Worse yet, if the tornado continues to track east, it will enter Oklahoma City. Panic begins to ensue in the Oklahoma City metro area. Residents haven't even begun to clean up from the EF5 and more the week before, and now an even larger storm is closing in on the city. The panic only worsens the mob of cars congesting the interstate. But even when the situation seems like it couldn't get any worse, the lead newscaster for the Metro, Mike Morgan, says this live on air.
Need to be, if you can go south right now, if you don't feel safe, go south. Get out of its way. Reed Timmer is on that. Reed, what do you have?
This dire language prompts tens of thousands more to attempt to flee the area towards the south, bringing the area's already heavily congested traffic to a complete standstill. Thousands are now stuck in the path of this massive, violent tornado. Its erratic movement means forecasters have no idea what it's about to do next. If it continues eastward, it will follow I-40, where hundreds of cars are stuck. The outcome of a violent tornado hitting this traffic jam could be a death toll in the hundreds. The tornado is once again hidden by rain as it approaches I-40. Sub-vortices still sweep around the main circulation, one of which swipes a small neighborhood of homes. Fortunately, the fast-forward speed of the sub-vortex spares total destruction of the area. As the tornado crosses I-40, it loops before heading due east. Following the interstate, hundreds of cars and structures are now in the path. And beyond the interstate, the densely populated suburbs of the Oklahoma City metro are now in direct sight. It's not long until chaos begins to ensue on the interstate. Numerous 18-wheeler trucks were toppled. People's cars were picked up and rolled, and while many were able to survive, this luck would not last. Maria Martin, her husband, and their 3 children had pulled over their minivan onto the side of the interstate, hoping the tornado would pass by. Only the husband and 2 of the children were still inside the vehicle, injured but alive. Maria and her 17-day-old baby passed away. Just as the core of the tornado inches near the highway, a miracle seems to occur. The circulation begins to become increasingly messy and is weakening. Within a couple of seconds, the tornado would disappear into nothing. As the storm passes, law enforcement and chasers comb over the damaged path, racing nightfall to try and help those affected by the tornado. Fortunately, no structures were hit by the strongest winds in the tornado. If they had, EF5 damage could have easily been inflicted and more people could have died. But the real tragedies that occurred during the tornado were in vehicles. Along Highway 81 and I-40, dozens of cars have been flipped or rolled, but so far, no deaths have been reported. Canadian County Sheriff's Deputy Doug Green is one of the people assisting in search and rescue. He drives down Reuter Road when he spies something in a canola patch. He approaches the mangled heap of metal to find the body of Tim Samaras. By the next morning, the bodies of Paul Samaras and Carl Young will also be recovered after they are found ejected from the vehicle. Soon, Richard Henderson is also added to the list of fatalities attributed to the tornado, making the official death toll 8. Before today, no tornado had ever killed a storm chaser, but this one alone had killed 4, including a veteran chase group. Tim Samaras was well respected in the chase community, and although his work involved venturing close to one of the most dangerous places on the surface of the planet, he was regarded as someone who always put safety first. But the record-breaking and erratic nature of this tornado meant that no chaser was safe, and has become a historic footnote in how little we understand about the behavior of tornadoes.
Man, R.I.P. Like, no, straight up. Like, you gotta have balls to do some shit like that. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, but yo, you gotta leave nature the fuck alone. Like, humanity is like 0 for like 2 billion against nature, fam. Like, we never win. Stop fucking with it. Stop, like, you know, stop pretending like we could predict what the fuck it's gonna do. Like, I have yet to meet a weatherman to tell me the weather, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm not... just, like, I don't know, bro. Shout out to them, though. Great video. Like, honestly, a great fucking channel. The way this is, like, the way it was, like, following, explaining, great storytelling. It was like I was fucking there. Like, terrifying, bro. Absolutely fucking terrifying, bro. What the hell? All right, let's see. Let's get into some game. Like, what? How many hours? 1:57. What time is it right now? All right, let's get into some game, man. He put out a date though. It's May 15th, right? Yeah, May 15th it is. Yeah, we'll do a live react, bro. I gotta make sure you're in here when we do that shit. We got a date though, Cruz. We got a fucking date. So, you know, I hope you're happy. Like, you know what I mean? You don't gotta keep predicting that shit. It's finally fucking here. Yeah, hello, broski. Appreciate you for even dropping in and shit like that. But yo, make sure to come in quick for May 15th and shit like that. When you see that noti, just let me know what time you're trying to, you know, we'll listen to that shit. If you beat me to it, then you beat me to it. But it is what it is. Have a blessed night, family. And proud of you, bro. Keep grinding. Keep grinding. I know it sucks. Yo, do your thing, family. I'm gonna see you done. That's crazy. Paladin City is crazy for Iceman. Like, oh, shut the whole shit down. All right. Now now it's time to be the, you know? It's time to be officers. What's this guy's name again? Noah J. Jones. Noah J. Jones. Let's fix the settings and shit like that so we don't think I'm just chatting and shit. Police simulation. Right, police simulator, isn't it? Oh, that's just gonna piss me off. I don't know why I'm doing it from the computer. I could definitely just do this from the fucking phone. Nah, Cruz kills me. Yeah, when I saw that ice, because that ice shit was downtown, so like, I was just like, I know this nigga's out. When I think it was a streamer who revealed the fucking date through the booklet or whatever. Because I saw him, he was at the Raptors game. Ooh, shout out to the Raptors, by the way, tying up the series tonight. Yo, that shit was, bro. I don't think you understand. Like, I started watching around the third quarter, and I think we were losing. And I remember saying out loud, I'm like, all right, now that I'm watching, watch these niggas turn it up. And they actually, they literally, that's what they started. I think like 3 minutes later, they started winning. Bro, like nobody could believe what the fuck just happened. It's hard watching Brandon Ingram like struggle and shit like that, but honestly, watching everybody else step the fuck up has been great. As a Raptors fan, okay, this is loud. As a Raptors fan, it's been great. Hopefully y'all could have heard all of that shit or whatever, but let me turn this down until we start playing. What's the name of this game? My bad for having y'all just... Oh, I thought I got into some trouble. It's just an agreement change. 1 second. Edit. Police. Yo, this is actually pissing me off. I can't find it. Oh, here we go. Wow, what the? Alright. Let's do. Honestly, like, if y'all knew how I felt about police, this is like such a betrayal towards myself playing this game. But I've actually been in, like, before the little break, I was really enjoying playing this shit. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I probably have a record. You know what? Let me not say what I was about to say. But honestly, like, yeah, I've been enjoying this shit.
As a patrol officer, your duty is never really over.
Yeah, shut the fuck. I hate that bitch.
This area has high criminal activity. Ready yourself to show some police presence.
I can take that.
What? Isn't my shift over? I think this is one of the ones where my shift is over already. Yeah. Might take it a little light today, you know what I mean? Downtown, melting pot. Have I been to Brixton? I haven't been to Brixton, have I? No. You know what? What? Alright, actually. Tackling, escorting, doorway, call out, beggars. You know what? Yeah, let's finish all of these first. And then... Why is the biggest area foot patrol? Yeah, that's the only one with the whip. Actually, should we start off on foot? Just to start, just to get, you know. It's been a bit of over a week, right? So Let's do a quick 25-minute foot patrol without all that other shit. Don't worry about the vehicles just yet. A little bit of a rhythm, then we'll get back to it.
We've been getting a lot of calls concerning the parking situation over the last few days. Will you keep your eyes open, officer?
Of course.
Support required. Any officers available?
Minor accident. No, let's chill out. Let's just see what we find first.
I'm in the middle of resolving something else.
So let's just make sure we got the right shit on us. Oh wait, yeah, actually equip stones. That's the right one. Who did? Nigga in the car? What's happening? Oh yeah, I can give tickets and shit. I be forgetting. I'm just gonna get a ticket real fast. On the sidewalk, nigga. You silly goose, what are you doing there? What is happening? What accident? What accident? Am I tripping? There's no fucking accident. Why is it saying I need to clear an accident? This is gonna be the worst shit I think I've done so far. I haven't found shit.
Hi.
Hey.
Assistance is requested for an emergency. Please respond.
Sorry, I'm busy with something else.
Any officers available? We need assistance.
Roger that.
Black shirt, black suit.
I require assistance, officer. Could you please help me?
No.
Dispatch here. We have an emergency. Any available officers, please respond.
I'm not available at the moment.
I'm looking for niggas now. There was a way that yeah, that's how you do that. Right. I wish I had a car right now. Oh, ticket. This is the easiest one to spot, so I'll just use these ones. Alright, let's go.
I've arrived in the area. I'll start looking for the suspect.
Red shirt, what? Black suit pants? Red shirt, black pants. Is that a dude? I can't tell if that's a dude or like a... No, I don't think that's a... They don't know if he's armed or she's armed.
Hello, officer.
I'm trying to get you.
Hello.
Back.
I have to issue you a ticket for littering, which will cost you up to $25.
So much money for such a small infraction?
I need to see your ID, please.
Here you go, officer.
Wait a minute. That's Shorty, no? Ah, they look the same though. What the fuck? Am I tripping? It's not what she's wearing, but it's the exact same image unless the game is like making doubles.
How you doing, officer?
Good. I think. It's not it. Oh, hell no. There he is. All right.
You were faster than I thought you would be.
Okay.
Show me your ID, please.
Sure. Here you go, officer.
Yep, you're the one. You're the one we're looking for. What did you do? See if you got anything.
I will proceed with the search. Please cooperate.
Oh, she had a handgun? That's crazy. What? Why is it?
You're under arrest for having an open warrant. Please move to the sidewalk.
No, don't. Please, officer.
Where you going?
You've committed a violation by carrying a weapon without a valid permit.
Wait,
You're being
I don't
arrested.
know if she
Please move
did
on to the
Any
sidewalk.
officers available? We need assistance.
Oh, she does have a gun permit. I fucked up there. Oh, well.
I need backup to take a suspect into custody.
Understood. The
This is
closest
Patrol
available unit will be
4561. I can take
dispatched to your
that.
location.
take this bitch away, please.
There's a situation that needs taking care of.
I'm here to take the suspect
Anybody
into custody.
available?
Please cooperate and come with me to the patrol car.
At your service, officer.
At your service.
This is Patrol 4562. I'll look for the suspect.
I will? Oh, somebody else.
There's an emergency. Urgent response required. Officer available?
I'm focused on another issue at the moment.
Well, that got handled. Ugh. This stream might not be that long today. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I got a lot of shit to do tomorrow. And I like playing this game just straight off the PS5. I think we're done playing this game. Like we're gonna finish this shift. We'll do another shift, and then after that, like we're just gonna call it. What is it?
We have an emergency. Who's currently available?
I'm in the middle of resolving something else.
What? What the fuck is vagrancy? Don't let it be this shit.
Would you please show me your ID?
Yes, officer. There you go.
Not driving. Why does it matter? Oh, so I can catch drug dealers later on in this game?
All right, you're free to go. Enjoy your day.
Who just did it? Alright. Yeah, I'm just gonna... I don't know what it is, but like my head's not in it, and then like I just... It just feels weird right now. Like let me try to see if it's just this game. Like I know y'all don't notice it, but like I hate that feeling. Like it just doesn't feel... I don't know how to explain it. Oh, this is the gun I was gonna try to play on stream with y'all. Scroll with a gun. This is what we might play when we're doing desktop. This game. season, A Letter to the Future. Yeah, that might be the game that we play. So we're gonna play this, and then when I'm just like feeling like a PS5 mood, like you know what I mean, like maybe just a random time while I'm streaming and shit like that, we'll do the police simulator. I'm just not gonna do this one on desktop. It's fucking annoying. Tried, definitely did try though. Hang on 1 second. Just chatting. What was I trying to do? Oh yeah, okay. Actually, I just might. You know what? It's the first stream back. You know what I mean? Like, let me be lax with it. Let me be cool with it. We'll have more tomorrow, but it's just like I had to make sure because I was actually gonna start on like I was gonna start coming back to streaming tomorrow night, but then last night I was just like, you know what, let me just throw it on the schedule. Mind you, I was fucking late today. Getting on here, I scheduled it for 8. I think it was well past 8. I think I made it just before 9, but it was just to make sure that okay, like you know, we're gonna get back to streaming. Let me stream so that you know what I mean. Like, let me not just push it off a day. Let me just like, you know what, tomorrow. That's when we're gonna start. And we got on here, we streamed. You know what I mean. We did some reacts, play some video games. But I'm gonna schedule this out a little bit better, and we're gonna start seasons tomorrow. So we're gonna do some yapping. We're gonna do some reacts. We'll hop onto the PS5, do that shit, and then you know on days when I'm just like, you know what, let me hop on stream, but let's just make it straight gaming and shit like that. We'll do the little police simulation, and we'll do simulation games straight off the PS5. You know what I mean? Which means we might do some, you know, like Sims might make it into this. I might buy some packs for the PS5 Sims, cause I don't know if y'all know this, but like it's my guilty pleasure. Like I do kind of like playing that game. Um, my sister actually like one of the Christmas like a few Christmases ago actually got me like a few packs. Because everybody I won't pay for that. Like you know, like there was one that I paid for. I think it was like the Get to Work pack, and it was because it was like $19. Um, but yeah, honestly, like I can never play the PC version on stream with y'all. It's but I could definitely do the PlayStation one. And we can have some fun with that. You know what I mean? So yeah, actually, yeah, we can have some fun with that. And usually, PlayStation Plus, they'll give away some free packs through PlayStation Plus. We'll see which one is actually available. I know they had City Living, and then I remember they took that away and then gave us Island Living. Um, and then just said fuck everything you had saved for the City Living shit. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it, we'll do that. We'll just do simulation games on the PS5, and then you know from time to 2K is actually technically a basketball simulation game. First person shooter, so COD's be straight off the PS5. So yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it that way. Good talk. But nah, man, I enjoy this shit. I like doing this shit. I appreciate everybody who just pops in just to say what up. Honestly, it's like you know, Cruz especially. Shout out to the follow today from Sour Knight. Like, you know what I mean? Just like little shit like that where it's just like appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like nobody has to come in here and say what up. Nobody has to come here and chop it up. Nobody has to like, you know, show any sort of love whatsoever. But when y'all do it, it actually it means a lot. Like it goes a long way, trust me, and it pushes me to do more. Like when I got my first sub, like you know what I mean. Like when I got my first few subs and shit like that. A couple from like no, it was actually one. I think I got 1 or 2 from people that I knew, and everything else was like you know. I think the other 3 or 4 were from like other people like I've never met in my life, right? And those ones mean way more to me than from the people that I know because it's not like I expect it, but it's just like you know me, like you know what I mean, and I appreciate that. Like I usually support the people that support me and stuff like that, so like I know where that's coming from. But people who've never met me in my life that you know supporting that way is fucking awesome. Like you know what I mean. So can't really Like there's no way to really describe like what that feels like because it's like shit, bro. Like off the strength, all right, fam. Like you know what I mean. I hope I can pay that forward to you, to like eventually type shit. Like that's how I felt about it. Um, so like when people put money into you, or like regardless of how much it is, you almost gotta want to prove them right. Like you know what I mean. Like yo, you putting your money in the right place. You know what I mean. Like giving your, like you're supporting the right nigga. Like you know what I mean. So. I'm definitely gonna try my best to like create an atmosphere, a vibe here, where like more people will come, more people will chill. You know what I mean, and like we could create better content as I grow with this channel. You know what I mean, on Twitch and YouTube. Shout out to YouTube, like you know what I mean, because this will be the first desktop VOD on YouTube. So shout out to y'all niggas. Definitely a little short. So the streams are gonna get a little bit longer. Honestly, I want to max out streams at 4 hours, like 4 or 5 hours. Like I think the max is 5. We're aiming like the sweet spot is like 3 hours and 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like for me, only because like I'm not doing IRLs, right? IRLs can take you like you know what I mean. Like when those can usually stretch time and shit like that because like a lot of travel time before you're even doing what you're doing and shit like that. So if we're doing IRLs, like again, I would still max it out at like 5 hours. Like I just don't want to take time from anybody's day, especially when it comes to just like trying to watch things back. Like I don't think about just right now. I think about in the future, like if things are actually going well. I never want somebody to have to like if you want to catch up with things, you have to sit through like 9, 10 hours or like 8 hours of footage. I even think 5 hours is too much, but that's why I'm maxing it out at 5, right? Again, the sweet spot is 3 hours and 30 minutes. So like you could skip through certain parts and shit like that. And then once like the intro, the outro, track that down a little bit. Like it's really only like 3 hours and 15 minutes, 3 hours and 10, which is still a lot of time. But it's something to go to sleep to. Like you know what I mean. Like you're on your it's like you can use those as your when you're going to work, when you're coming back from work, something you could watch or listen to and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it's your travel time. I forgot it's your commute time. Like you know what I mean? So it's things to fill in the dead spots of your day. I feel like 5 is excessive. I feel like more than 5 is excessive, and I feel like certain streamers like they have quality content, which is why they do longer than 5 hours. Like for me, I feel like I can give you quality content for 3 hours and 30 minutes consistently, but doing it for 5, like doing it for more than 5 is me pushing it. Like you know what I mean. And on top of that, I don't think it's fair to y'all. I don't like, especially if you're trying to keep up and stuff like that. So um yeah, I feel like that's the happy medium. If even if it's shorter than that, which it is today, I think that's even better. Like you know what I mean. So I don't want it to ever seem like I'm forcing it. Like you just watched me be like, I'm not feeling this while I'm playing because I just didn't like the vibe. Like I wouldn't be able to create the vibe that I'm trying to create with y'all. I think it's more immersive when you don't see my face on the PS5 and I'm talking like the cop, moving like the cop. Shit is more crispier. Like you know what I mean. The quality of the game is crispier and shit like that. Like it's just it's a better feel. Like you know what I mean. Some people actually like the face, seeing my face and shit like that, which is thanks guys. But I think it's better, like especially if you're doing some simulator shit. If you don't see my face, which is why I like streaming straight off the PS5 for that type of shit. So there will be nights where it's just the PS5 streams, and I will like in the notice I'll make a note of that. I'll be like, yo, it's a gaming stream straight off the PS5. So if you want to come in for those, you can come in for those. If you don't want to, I don't blame you. But yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to load up Sims 4. You know what I mean? And start doing intense and crazy storyline. Bro, it's like to me that's like my reality TV. It's like me creating my own reality TV show. So, and I hate reality TV, but like I like my own. I like it when I do it. So, um, yeah. As I was talking, I should have been like loading this bullshit up. It is what it is though. That being said, everything that's being said, I fuck with y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope you guys continue to conquer your fears, chase your dreams, and accomplish your goals, and put yourselves in positions to receive love if that's what you're looking for, and attain success if that's what you're aiming for. I actually got more news I gotta talk to my co-host when it comes to the podcast stuff. But that is something I want to get going again. We're probably gonna do it through mostly Discord. We were trying to figure out a schedule where we can link up. You know what I mean, to try to do that every week and stuff like that. Um, I don't think it's going to work out if we try to do it that way. Like we're just going to miss weeks. Like if we try to do it that way, right? So we're trying to find like a schedule where yeah we can meet up, bang a few episodes out, pause, and then like obviously get some Discord episodes in there. When our schedules are a little hectic. You know what I mean? Like if there's like something crazy that happens that week, we can get a Discord episode out. You know what I mean? Instead of the episode that we already had loaded up to go. Like my point with the podcast is to make sure we're having good conversations, not like topical conversations. But if there's conversations that come out of something that's significant that happened in that week, that we can really turn into like a real conversation for that episode, we'll do that. But the point of the episodes, like the point of the podcast, is for the episodes to like if I listen to an episode from 2 years ago, it should still apply now. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how we go about those. Which, um, it, check it. I think it should be in the bio. It should be in the description. The podcast stuff. It's like it's under. It's I think it's under the It says the UFD podcast. But it's Sandbox Collective. Like you know what I mean? It's essentially like it's gonna be like we already have like 3 shows on there. So we have the UFD podcast, ISOs, and Jurassic Pod, right? Jurassic Pod is actually we got to get back to that, so we got to relaunch that. Technically, it's like it's we missed a season or two actually now, but it was one of my favorite shows to do. But it was just like the schedule got a little too crazy for me. Um, but it's something that I would like to pick back up. So that's something that like not this season, but we might like try to build it up during the off season and then get back into it and shit like that. But Jurassic Pod, which sorry, what Jurassic Pod is all Raptors and NBA podcast, right? So we center around the Raptors, but also talk about what's going on in the NBA as well. That's with me and John. Sometimes like a friend will come in and stuff like that, and we'll have those conversations with them. ISO is just me. It's like my online journal. I guess is the best way to explain that. So it's like me reflecting on like not just my week, but like it'll start off with what's been going on in my week, and then it'll just wherever my mind takes me, I just have those conversations. I pretend like it's just for me, and if it helps you, then I hope But it really started off as like when it first started, it was because I had I had a co-host that I could just never rely on, and I started doing ISOs to do that. But then it just slowly turned into like a journal where I was just venting and just like whatever the fuck was coming into my head, I was just saying and then exploring that thought. And it was freeing because at the time, like I always felt like restricted with that, like with those co-hosts and stuff like that. My current co-host, that's my Sandbox brother, which is essentially why we call the whole network Sandbox now. But that's like that's my guy. That's like I've known him forever. We got like baby pictures together and shit like that. That's my guy. But yeah, like it stemmed from that and turned into something completely like different. Like it just separated itself from the podcast, like the UFD podcast. And the UFD podcast was really just a place for conversations that not necessarily need to be had because nobody's that important to be say shit like that. But I just felt like people were being pussy. Like, just say what you really feel, say what you really mean, and just have the conversations with your guys, like people that you trust around you to have these type of conversations with. And there was a time where it was actually hard to have certain conversations, and then when Jock came along, these conversations got a lot easier to have. And yeah, like you know what I mean. Like, eventually want to branch out and involve more people in it. Um, and it's going to be the name of the YouTube channel, which is essentially it's gonna also be like everybody's got their AMPs, you got your phases, you got your thises, you got your that's. You know what I mean? Sandbox is just a collective. You know what I mean? So I want to grow it. I want it to be something. And the job came up with the name. You know what I mean? So that's my 50-50 partner, you know what I mean? Pause. But yeah, it's like we got our own goals and things that we're doing outside of just like this type of shit. But this is like the dream. This is the dream. We live in reality, so we got things that we got to do. But this is the dream to make all of these things come up and work. You know what I mean? So as much effort as we put into our other shit, we are also trying to fuel our dreams as well, right? So um yeah, look out for more information when more information starts uh try to say that smoother. But there is more information to tell, I will tell it. Um and we've updated the logos and shit like that, so you can go check those out. On the IG pages, like I think it's like Sandbox period collective on IG, Sandbox Collective on TikTok and YouTube. Um, but yeah, like there'll be more information, and I'll spread the word on that a little bit more when more things, you know what I mean, like when more things are a little bit more concrete. But I fuck with y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope you guys continue to conquer your fears, chase your dreams, and accomplish your goals, and put yourselves in positions to receive love if that's what you're looking for. Take success. If that is what you are aiming for, I go by King. You guys have a great rest of your night. Easy.